Chapter 1884. One had to say, if it wasn't for the fact that Lin Hanqing was naturally a tough nut to crack, any other duke would likely be unable to withstand such a situation. However, Lin Hanqing shook his head resolutely. All of you don't need to say any more. Everyone knows how to say nice things. If I were to ask you to gouge out your flesh and dig out your hearts, I'm afraid you wouldn't be so generous or have such a high level of awareness. While they were in a deadlock, owner Wang of the fragrant medicine house coldly laughed. Marquis Lin, through our cooperation with the Purple Marquis over the past 2 years, we have discovered that their ability to nurture elixirs far surpasses yours. As for the spirit herbs you cultivated, they couldn't reach our standards. Therefore, after discussion among the upper echelons of the fragrant medicine house, we've finally unanimously decided that we will not accept any spirit medicine from the Jinyuan territory in the future. The previous cooperation between our two houses will also end here. When these words were spoken, Lin Hanqing's expression immediately changed. The reason why he was so stubborn and unwilling to rent this half-spirit vein territory to the Duke of Soaring Dragon was because of his partnership with the Pill King Garden. From this relationship, he could reap considerable profits every year. But now, the boss of the fragrant medicine house had personally spoken that they would end their partnership and ban all spirit medicine from the Jinyuan territory. This was taking drastic measures to deal with the problem. Lin Hanqing asked hoarsely, "Landlord, do you really have to be so ruthless?" The landlord of the fragrant medicine house said faintly, "A wise man submits to circumstances. Duke Lin, your mistake is that you've always been ignorant of the situation and unable to see the situation clearly." How was this persuasion? This was obviously knocking on Lin Hanqing's head. Lin Hanqing had actually been holding back the evil fire in his belly for a long time. The landlord's words finally ignited the anger he'd suppressed for a long time. The anger he'd suppressed for a long time exploded in an instant. Lin Hanqing suddenly stood up from his seat and laughed loudly. Good, good. All of you put on an act, but are actually scheming as barbaric bandits. Let me tell you, I, Lin Hanqing, am not a bodhisattva made of clay. I can earn less money, or even not earn at all, but one must have a backbone. I, Lin Hanqing, will not sell this backbone even if it costs half a tael. The fragrant medicine house is it? Want to ban my Jinyuan duke? Doesn't matter. Even if I use that half-spirit veins land to rear pigs, I won't let you bandits get away with it. Lin Hanqing erupted. His eruption was very sudden and very thorough. It turned out that the feeling of exploding was so good. Lin Hanqing felt that all the resentment in his stomach had been vented out at this moment. Following his outburst, the entire banquet suddenly became incomparably quiet again. In an instant, the entire banquet fell into a dead silence. No one had expected that he would not hesitate to fight to the death with the purple-robed marquis. For a moment, several marquises who were on good terms with Jinyuan Ho were worried for Lin Hanqing. It was said that some time ago, the Jinyuan Marquis residence had suffered an earth-shattering assassination attempt and suffered heavy casualties. It was already like a candle flickering in the wind, difficult to continue. If they offended the Purple Marquis, how could they survive? The neutral dukes all lowered their heads, not daring to make eye contact with Lin Hanqing. He was afraid that Purple Marquis would mistakenly think that he supported Lin Hanqing and bring about a fatal disaster. However, the eldest princess, Dongfang Moyu, surprisingly did not express her opinion. She only sipped her tea lightly, as if she was watching a good show from the sidelines. The reaction of Lin Hanqing and the eldest princess, while shocking the purple-robed marquis, was slightly relieved. In his opinion, as long as the eldest princess didn't make a move to stop him, Lin Hanqing would only temporarily lose his reason. With his threats and promises, Lin Hanqing would sooner or later understand the logic of a single tree being unable to hold up the ground. What kind of waves could he cause? However, amidst this silence, a voice suddenly rang out. A cold voice rang out, "Well scolded, you scolded to your heart's content." As expected of the Jinyuan Marquis, as expected of a loyal descendant. I am curious, you so-called dukes, so-called nobles. Do you really not have a single hard bone in your body? The territory of our eastern kingdom, the people, must be defended by you spineless, mediocre people who only know how to curry favor? Do you not have the slightest bit of dignity as a noble, a minister, a pillar of the country? Apart from currying favor, bullying the good and fearing the evil, you really can't do anything else? Your ability is only left with helping the tiger do evil, supporting the strong and stepping on the weak, suppressing your colleagues, robbing your colleagues of their territory, and plundering their interests. Everyone looked over and found that it was Jiang Tian, who was sipping his wine while spouting nonsense. For a moment, many marquises were shocked and angry, and also a little ashamed. But the Marquis of Shanshui shouted excitedly again, "Bastard! You, a rogue cultivator from outside the river, a mere refugee from the remote countryside, are you qualified to spout nonsense here? Get out! This kid, don't spout nonsense all day long, and act without any manners." But Dongfang Moyu's beautiful eyes bloomed with splendor, and she looked at Jiang Tian with gentle ripples. She only felt that Jiang Tian's words were incomparably pleasing to the ear, like listening to heavenly music, too pleasant to listen to. What did Jiang Tian mean by these words? The alliance of dukes. Powerful dukes annexed and devoured the weak dukes. For dukes like the purple-robed Marquis and the Duke of Beijiang to become more and more powerful, it was not a good thing. This was a situation that could threaten the rule of the imperial family, and it was also the point that the Dongfang imperial family hated the most. It seemed that she suddenly felt that this sharp-tongued fellow, this lecher who spoke without restraint, was not so abominable. Therefore, when she was interrupted by the Marquis of Shanshui, Dongfang Moyu was immediately enraged. Her eyebrows rose as she shouted coldly, "Marquis of Shanshui, do you still want to be beaten? Isn't a slap enough? Mr. Jiang is an imperial physician and a member of the imperial family, why can't he speak? Sit down." Ah. He's an imperial physician. This subject didn't know before. "I know my mistake, Grand Princess, please calm down." The Marquis of Shanshui jumped in fright and hurriedly knelt down. He wants to be beaten. I'll enforce the law on behalf of the Grand Princess. Lin Yang jumped out and slapped the Marquis of Shanshui's face, causing him to roll a few meters away like a gourd. "You!" The Marquis of Shanshui climbed up in a daze, and was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. "It's one thing for the Grand Princess to hit me, but you, a little calf, a junior, dare to hit me. It's a great humiliation. How can this be tolerated?" However, when Lin Yang hit him, he used the princess's name, and he could not refute it. The Marquis of Shanshui retreated dejectedly. Jiang Tian smiled coldly again. "And you, the fragrant medicine house, right? To put it nicely, you are a high and mighty sect. To put it bluntly, you are just businessmen. Do you have any achievements? Have you made any contributions to the empire? Have you protected the Dongfang imperial family and the people? Where did you get the courage to use that pretentious tone to teach a lesson to a duke who once fought for the country and shed blood on the battlefield? Who gave you the courage? You're so arrogant. Terminate the cooperation." "Bah! I'm telling you clearly now, your fragrant medicine house will definitely not last long if you act like this. At most, you can live for half a year. There are many sects and businesses in the world that want to cooperate with my Lin family. Who do you think you are? Mister's knowledge is really extraordinary." At this moment, Dongfang Moyu looked at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes again. Her good impression of Jiang Tian rose rapidly again, and she liked him to the extreme. Sects were high and mighty and otherworldly. Sect cultivators considered themselves to be immortal cultivators and were extremely arrogant. They ignored the common people and did not care about the affairs of the world, but they forgot that they were originally born in the secular world. But if a heavenly treasure appeared in the secular world, they would definitely snatch it, and even fight with the royal family. But if there were any natural disasters, demon beast tides, demonic chi, and so on in the secular world, even if millions of mortals were killed or injured, they would not take a second look. They would even support agents in the secular world for the sake of benefits and participate in the fight for imperial power and territory. Ha, interesting. You dare to scold me. Owner Wang of the Fragrant Medicine House's face was ashen, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 1885. The Fragrant Medicine House was high and mighty. Even the eldest princess and crown prince Dongfang Ding had to be courteous to them. Now, they were being reprimanded by a guest of the Lin family. He had already announced Jiang Tian's death sentence in his heart. After all, killing people in a sect completely disregarded the laws of the secular empire. However, the eldest princess was present and Jiang Tian had the title of imperial physician. He could not directly attack or threaten him. He could only laugh coldly. Kid, don't be so arrogant. You're just an itinerant cultivator from a humble background. How dare you talk about the development of the Fragrant Medicine House? What a joke. I'll tell you frankly, without the Fragrant Medicine House to buy the spiritual herbs from the spiritual herb garden, you can only rear pigs. Is the Fragrant Medicine House so rich? Is your strength so terrifying? The spiritual herb garden in Tiger Head Ridge occupies a half-spiritual vein. You want to use it to rear pigs? How extravagant and wasteful. It's truly admirable. Right at this moment, a sarcastic voice sounded out. A middle-aged cultivator with a cold, arrogant, and overbearing expression walked in lazily with his hands behind his back. He was clearly trying to tear down the Fragrant Medicine House. The purple marquis stood up and slammed the table angrily. He shouted sternly, "Where are the guards? What's the use of keeping you? How dare you let an outsider in? Throw him out. Marquis, please calm down." The guard commander following behind the middle-aged man hurriedly rushed forward and whispered something into Purple Marquis's ear. When Purple Marquis heard this, his expression changed, and he hurriedly went up to greet him. His face was full of joy as he said apologetically, "I didn't expect the third hall master of the Ancient Medicine Hall's Icebound City branch to come in person. Please forgive this old man's poor eyesight, old man's poor eyesight." What? It's the third hall master of the Ancient Medicine Hall's ice-sealed City Hall. The third hall master has been replaced. The ice-sealed City Hall is the second main hall of the Ancient Medicine Hall. The third hall master is a big shot. Why is he here? Go greet him. It's good to get familiar with him. Many of the marquises stepped forward and bowed. Even the eldest princess went to greet him, her face filled with joy. The Ancient Medicine Hall was the top sacred ground on the continent. There were many semi-god realm cultivators and saints there. They could flatten a large country with a single order. That was terrifying enough. More importantly, they were proficient in alchemy. There were oceans of divine pills and clouds of divine pills in the palace. These were essential items for the various feudal lords to raise their cultivation and nurture their disciples. Not only in the Eastern Empire, but even in the entire Saint Origin world, there was a saying that if you offend the Hall of Ancient Medicine, you'll suffer a fate worse than death. If you climb up the Hall of Ancient Medicine, you'll reach the heavens in a single bound. Third Palace Master, you're here. Why didn't you tell me? On the other hand, the Fragrant Medicine House's house master's face was filled with terror as he spoke in a submissive tone. In the eyes of the secular world, the Fragrant Medicine House could be considered a large and famous sect. However, compared to a colossus like the Ancient Medicine Hall, it paled in comparison. A branch hall of Icebound City was enough to crush them. Third Hall Master Xing had an arrogant look on his face. He couldn't be bothered with Third Hall Master Xing. He chuckled and looked at Lin Hanqing. Marquis Lin, it's a waste to use a half-spirit vein to rear pigs. The Ancient Medicine Hall is willing to pay 200 million top-grade crystals a year to sign a contract with the Lin family. 5 years, no, 10 years, no, you can fill in the number of years you want. What? Everyone, including Purple Marquis, thought they had heard wrong. The third hall master of the Ancient Medicine Hall's branch in Icebound City was willing to pay 10 million to sign a contract with the Lin family. If it were any other occasion, it wouldn't be a big deal to sign a contract and do business. However, the ancient medicine hall's actions were a slap in the face to Purple Marquis and the fragrant medicine house. They were openly supporting the Lin family. This was strange. The ancient medicine hall was the top sacred ground. Who didn't know how terrifying it was? Who didn't know how shrewd and wise the hall masters and elders of the ancient medicine hall were? Under such circumstances, the ancient medicine hall was making a loss by signing a contract with such generous conditions. If the ancient medicine hall couldn't benefit from other aspects, why would they support the Lin family? When did the Lin family of the Jinyuan Marquis get on the good side of the ancient medicine hall? No one thought that the Jinyuan Marquis was so influential or capable that the ancient medicine hall would publicly support them just because of a half-spirit vein herb garden. The fragrant medicine house's house master's face turned ugly as he said coldly, "Third hall master, what you're doing is inappropriate. However, you should know that the herb garden isn't worth 200 million top-grade crystals. You're willing to suffer a huge loss just to slap me in the face. Do you think Elder Gu and the head hall master will agree? You don't have to worry about that. So what if we lose money?" Third hall master Xing snorted coldly in his heart. What do you know? The heaven-mending pill alone brings tens of billions of top-grade crystals to the Hall of Ancient Medicine. Losing this little bit of money is nothing compared to pleasing Mr. Jiang. He said calmly, "That's right. Hall Master Wang, slap me in the face." Why do you say that? I clearly heard you say that you're ending your business with the Lin family. If not, why would the ancient medicine hall interfere? We know the rules of doing business. There's nothing wrong with us picking up a business that you don't want to do, right? The fragrant medicine house master was tongue-tied and speechless. Purple Marquis also looked embarrassed. The ancient medicine hall had spent 200 million top-grade crystals to rent the herb garden, but he only wanted to spend 10 million. His table manners were a little too unsightly. However, he was very confused. He couldn't understand why the ancient medicine hall would risk losing money to support the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family. This was too strange. However, Lin Hanqing knew that it was all because of Jiang Tian. Looking at Purple Marquis and Landlord Wang's expression as if they had just swallowed a fly, Lin Hanqing's heart felt extremely carefree. He laughed heartily, beaming with joy, and said proudly, "Thank you, Landlord Wang, for terminating the contract with my Lin family. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the opportunity to sit and collect 200 million in rent. I've doubled it in an instant. I still have important matters to attend to. I'll take my leave first." Hall Master Wang was so embarrassed that he couldn't back down. He didn't have the face to stay and left angrily. The Purple Marquis was very angry that the ancient medicine hall had ruined his plan to rob the Marquis. However, he didn't dare to offend the third hall master, so he pretended to be polite and said, "The third hall master's arrival today brings light to our humble Marquis mansion. Please take a seat and enjoy some wine." "Haha, thank you for your hospitality. However, I'm only here to discuss a business with Jinyuan Marquis. Since we've already discussed it, there's no need for me to stay. Please contact me after the banquet and sign a rental contract. Everyone, please don't send me off." Third Hall Master Xing had his hands behind his back. His expression was arrogant and overbearing. He didn't care about people like Purple Marquis at all. He laughed and left the Marquis residence without giving him any face. They're willing to double the rent to rent the herb garden at Tiger Head Ridge. The ancient medicine hall is clearly supporting Jinyuan Marquis. With the support of the ancient medicine hall, won't Jinyuan Marquis be able to make a comeback? From a chicken to a phoenix. Of course, with the ancient medicine hall, he'll have an endless supply of pills. With pills, the strength of the Jinyuan Marquis residence will soar. The situation has changed. It seems that the Lin family is going to rise among the southern feudal lords and surpass Purple Marquis. We have to curry favor with Marquis Lin and hug his thigh. Through him, we might be able to get some precious pills from the ancient medicine hall. That's right. Jinyuan Marquis is much better than Purple Marquis. It's not a loss to be friends with him. Purple Marquis is greedy by nature and easily takes things by force. Today, he took Jinyuan Marquis. Who knows if he'll steal from us tomorrow? Many feudal lords who were close to Jinyuan Marquis whispered and beamed with joy. They seemed to think highly of Jinyuan Marquis. Some feudal lords who were originally neutral seemed to be moved. They raised their cups and toasted Lin Hanqing from afar to express their congratulations and flattery. Being keenly aware of these subtle changes, Purple Marquis's face suddenly turned ugly. Chapter 1886. Originally, the Purple Marquis had invited all the dukes and banquets to spread the news of his son's breakthrough, intimidate the other dukes, and gather the people's hearts to prepare for the day when he would rebel. It was also to put pressure on Lin Hanqing to openly snatch this medicine field and accumulate resources. But now, this had become a show for the Jinyuan residents. They had tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. Marquis, we can't sit by and watch the Jinyuan grow. Why don't we carry out the second plan? Yes, uncle, if the Jinyuan obtains the support of the other dukes, the situation is already set. One day, won't the Xianji forest and even the entire Red Rock Basin be snatched away? At this moment, the Marquis of Shanshui's expression was grave as he communicated with the Purple Marquis. Li Ludao and Zi Yunshao rubbed their palms together, eager to give it a try. Good, victory or defeat depends on this. The Purple Marquis pondered for a moment, then suddenly gritted his teeth. He had always been a resolute and decisive person, with the air of an ambitious and ruthless person, doing what he said. At this time, the Jinyuan was already showing signs of rising. If they did not take advantage of his weakness to strangle him in the cradle as soon as possible, would they have to keep him and let him develop? The banquet continued for a while, gradually reaching the most important matter of the hidden dragon trials. Everyone surrounded Dongfang Moyu and asked him all sorts of questions, deeply worried. Suddenly, the Purple Marquis took over the topic, stood up, and toasted Dongfang Moyu. My colleagues, speaking of the hidden dragon trials, I would like to express the highest respect to our empire's war goddess. The Eastern Empire was founded on martial arts, and cultivation prospered. From the nobles to the peddlers, they all yearned for cultivation and worked hard to improve themselves. Among them, the eldest princess is the most outstanding. Whether it is talent, perseverance, realm, or battle strength, she is not inferior to men. She is our role model, and I admire her to the extreme. He still knew how to say a few words, but it carried a sense of flattery and vulgarity. Everyone chimed in agreement. I'll drink first as a sign of respect. Eldest princess, please drink this cup. The Purple Marquis drank it in one gulp. Ha, the Purple Marquis is too polite. Dongfang Moyu was quite forthright, and also drank the wine. Marquis Purple Robe's expression was solemn. He swept his gaze over the children of the feudal lords and said coldly, the empire was founded on martial prowess and evaluated the nobles, dukes, and ministers based on military achievements. The purpose was to encourage us to work hard and cultivate diligently. But there were some disciples of the dukes that laid on the books of merit of their ancestors, and they didn't think about improving themselves. They had nothing to do all day long, and they were extremely lazy. They only knew how to drink and make merry, and they were absent-minded towards cultivation. This Marquis deeply abhorred this. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Yang. Lin Yang felt uncomfortable, so he angrily said, "Why are you looking at me? Is there something on my face?" Originally, the rules of the hidden dragon trials were that the descendants of the vassals who lost would have their fiefs reduced, their nobility lowered, or even be stripped of their titles. However, some of the descendants of the vassals still did not have the heart to strive forward. They actually shamelessly claimed that without their titles and fiefs, they would be able to be an idle official and receive a salary from the royal family. How shameless! Following the Purple Marquis's furious roar, the entire banquet was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone looked at Lin Yang with ridicule and speechlessness. Lin Hanqing's face turned red, and he covered his face with his hands. My son, it's fine that your cultivation was low before, but why did you say such strange things? You'll become the laughingstock of the world. Lin Yang was also very speechless. He lowered his head and drank tea, hiding his embarrassment. Damn it, I was just casually comforting myself after drinking. How did it reach your ears? You even publicly announced it in this kind of situation, making me unable to step down. It seems that the punishment system is still not enough. Therefore, I did not hesitate to bear the infamy and wrote a petition, requesting that the Hidden Dragon trials be changed to actual combat. The purple marquis's face was filled with pain and hatred, and he coldly said, "Many people scolded me for being cruel and merciless, and for taking too many risks. This may cause the descendants of the vassals to be injured or even killed. But, is this the case? This is only to encourage those salted fish who do not want to improve themselves. A treasured sword's edge must be sharpened. Only by sweating and bleeding during normal times can you preserve your life in battle. My son also wants to participate in the actual combat of the Hidden Dragon trials. He may also be injured and die. Today, I will say it here. If he is beaten to death in the Hidden Dragon trials, then it is because his skills are not as good as others. He deserves it." At the end of his speech, the purple marquis was impassioned. Spittle flew everywhere, the rims of his eyes were slightly red, and he patted his chest loudly. His acting skills were not bad. There is always pain in reform. The Marquis of Shanshui also tearfully sighed, shamelessly flattering. The Marquis is a man of great talent and bold vision, selfless and completely impartial. However, he was resented and reviled by the vassals of the world, saying that his actions were for the sake of partisanship and for the sake of annexing other vassals. This is simply a bunch of nonsense, slandering others. The Marquis is completely for the prosperity of the empire. His loyalty and devotion can be witnessed by the heavens. The good thing is that His Majesty knows this subject's painstaking efforts, and the eldest princess understands this subject's loyalty. This subject's petition for the Hidden Dragon trials to be implemented in actual combat has finally been approved. This subject here, on behalf of the common people, I thank the eldest princess." The purple marquis bowed deeply, tears flowing down his old face. His acting skills were at their peak. The purple marquis is wholeheartedly for the sake of the empire's development. The imperial family understands this. Dongfang Mayu could only be so polite. However, she did not forget to glance at the many juniors, revealing a kind smile, and reminded, in the future, although the Hidden Dragon trials will be implemented in actual combat, it is still important to stop at a certain point. Do not pursue your opponent relentlessly for the sake of false reputation, for the sake of a title. After all, you are all the future pillars of the empire. If any one of you is injured or killed, it will be a great loss to the empire. This princess will also be very sad. We will remember. Zi Yunxiao and Li Ludao nodded repeatedly. However, they coldly snorted in their hearts. The battlefield was constantly changing. How could it be so easy to judge whether to stop at a certain point or to pursue relentlessly? Lin Yang, as long as we can go against you, only death awaits you. Your Highness the eldest princess, do not worry. The children understand these principles. The vassals of the world are one family. Friendship first, competition second. At this time, the purple marquis smiled. However, there is only a month until the Hidden Dragon trials. Today, there are many distinguished guests present, and the eldest princess has even personally come. In order to improve the combat skills of these juniors, in order to stimulate their fighting spirit, and in order to liven things up for the eldest princess, this marquis would like to propose that the descendants of the vassals present today have a warm-up competition, a simulation of the trials. I wonder what your Highness the eldest princess thinks. He had done a lot of foreshadowing, and finally the dagger was revealed. For a moment, many of the descendants of the vassals had different expressions. The scene was noisy, and there was a lot of discussion. The Marquis' suggestion is very good. What is learned on paper is shallow, and what is learned must be done personally. Only in actual combat can you improve yourself. Yes, yes, yes. Cultivation is not treating people to a meal, not writing an essay, not painting or embroidery. It cannot be so elegant, so calm, so gentle, and so modest. Cultivation is a life and death struggle to suppress the opponent. It is a battle between the strong, a competition of strength and willpower. To be able to win a smile from the eldest princess, it is not a waste of what I have learned in my life. For example, Li Ludao, Zi Yunxiao, and the others who had higher cultivation levels were all filled with fighting spirit, eager to give it a try. Some of the descendants of the aristocratic families who had previous grievances glared at each other, their expressions unfriendly, their killing intent surging. As for the descendants with lower cultivation levels, they immediately shrunk like quails. They either lowered their heads, took the opportunity to escape, or shivered. Their faces were filled with uneasiness, and they looked at their elders for help. As for the vassals who had a good relationship with Lin Hanqing, their hearts tightened. This time, the purple marquis had been talking for half a day, and was waiting here. He wanted to fiercely trample on Jinyuan Marquis and that teacher Jiang. Chapter 1887. Is the purple marquis so impatient? How is Lin Yang's preparation? Can Mr. Jiang teach him carefully? Hearing this, Dongfang Moyu's face slightly froze, and he glanced at Jiang Tian and Lin Yang. Jiang Tian's face was calm, and Lin Yang did not run away. Dongfang Moyu could not determine Lin Yang's current situation. Thinking of this, Dongfang Moyu smiled and said, "The children's cultivation is uneven. In order to avoid a battle with too great a disparity in strength, unnecessary casualties, I suggest that the simulated battle must be agreed to by the person being challenged. If the challenger refuses the challenge, then we cannot force it. After all, this is still not the real Hidden Dragon trials. Of course. Princess Royal is kind and cares about her subordinates. I don't want to see anyone hurt." The purple marquis gloated at Jiang Tian and Lin Yang. Refuse the challenge? Sure, the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family's face will be lost, and their prestige will be lost. The southern marquis will still treat me as the core. Dongfang Moyu nodded, and glanced at the children of the marquis. She smiled and said, "Since everyone agrees to this rule, there shouldn't be any accidents. Today, all the descendants of the marquis are gathered here. As the person in charge of the Hidden Dragon trials, I will take this opportunity to observe your progress in cultivating the Eastern Purple Qi, and give you a few pointers. You don't have to hold back. Show your talent, comprehension, talent, and ability." Her voice was cold, like jades striking each other. "Then, let the challenge begin. I wonder which handsome young man will stand up and start the challenge first, and give me a surprise. I am willing to eat this mouthful of soup. Princess Royal, please give me pointers on my cultivation. I will be eternally grateful." Li Ludao stood up and walked out of the crowd, flying to the martial arts field next to the banquet hall. He looked around proudly. This martial arts field occupied half of the manor of the Purple Marquis, and was very wide. Good, 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 Li Ludao. I know you, the son of the Marquis of Shanshui. I heard that you have returned to the peak, Golden Core stage. Then find an opponent of similar level to fight a peak battle, and let me broaden my horizons. I think Zi Yunxiao is not bad. Dongfang Moyu smiled. She still doesn't want Lin Yang to accept the challenge now. Although she felt that Jiang Tian was an amazing person, Lin Yang's foundation was too poor. In just a few months, if he was promoted from the first level of Jindan stage to the peak, it would be like a fantasy. Eldest princess must be joking. Brother Z is the #1 genius among the descendants of the southern vassals of the empire. How could this subject be his match? Li Ludao politely refused, then looked at Lin Yang and pretended to hold his fist. I would like to challenge the son of Jinyuan Ho, Lin Yang. Just now, Lin Yang said that I was asking for a beating and wanted to teach me a lesson. Lin Yang has made rapid progress in this period of time. He already has the qualification to compete with me. Brother Lin Yang, please advise me. As cultivators, we forget our enmity with a smile when we meet. All friendships are based on learning from each other. Am I right, everyone? Lin Yang looked embarrassed, but he didn't get up immediately. Although he was already a peak-stage Golden Core cultivator, Li Ludao had been a Golden Core cultivator for many years and had more combat experience. The other marquises also got the hint from Marquis Zishan's eyes. Yes, let's have a good fight. We old guys will be outdated in the end. Sooner or later, we will give way to the younger generation. It's rare to have such a good opportunity tonight. Between the descendants of the vassals, we can learn from each other and increase our friendship. This will strengthen the martial spirit of the Eastern Empire. Good. Lin Yang, you should accept. Young people are the future of the country. If they are strong, the empire will be strong. Seeing that Lin Yang didn't accept the challenge, Zi Yunxiao smiled and said, Lin Yang, you won't refuse, right? Li Ludao has been fascinated by you for a long time. I heard that your esteemed guest, Mr. Jiang, has recently begun to guide your cultivation. Mr. Jiang is an eccentric cultivator from outside the river. I think he must have some outstanding points. Ah. Mr. Jiang is guiding his cultivation. Marquis Shanxue slapped his thigh and said, Then Lin Yang, I'm afraid you will ascend to the heavens. Cultivators from outside the river are so amazing. His words were full of ridicule. Oh. No wonder Lin Yang is so arrogant. So you invited a famous teacher from outside the river. A famous teacher produces a brilliant disciple. Lin Yang has someone to rely on. Hearing this, everyone burst into laughter and looked at Jiang Tian and the Lin father and son with ridicule. How could the Lin family be so eccentric? They actually invited a trashy cultivator from outside the river to guide Lin Yang's cultivation. This was simply destroying their own future. If he was ridiculed like this in the past, Lin Yang would pinch his nose and endure it. After all, he had been a good-for-nothing for many years. It wasn't the first time he had been ridiculed, and his skin had gradually become very thick. However, seeing the flames of ridicule gradually burning on Jiang Tian, he couldn't hold it in anymore. Let's fight. Who's afraid of you? Lin Yang slammed the table and stood up, his battle intent surging. He and Jiang Tian had a special relationship. Jiang Tian had solved the Lin family's crisis several times and brought him to the ancient medicine hall to show off, enlightening his cultivation and stimulating his potential. In his heart, Jiang Tian was as close as a brother, but also as respected as a famous teacher. It could be said that he was both a teacher and a friend. At this moment, seeing that Jiang Tian was also being ridiculed, if he still acted like a coward, would he still be a human? Ha, Lin Yang, you're good. You were originally the weakling who formed the core the longest in history. During this period of time, you were misled by a rogue cultivator from outside the river. I'm afraid your strength is not as good as it used to be. You actually accepted my challenge. I'm a little impressed. Li Ludao laughed strangely, his tongue was incomparably poisonous. He humiliated Jiang Tian and Lin Yang together. What nonsense are you talking about? Just do it. Lin Yang flew into the martial arts arena and shouted angrily. Sir, are you really going to let Lin Yang compete with him? Lin Hanqing looked at Jiang Tian pitifully with a nervous expression. He only had one precious son. If he died, how could he explain to his wife and ancestors? Don't worry, Lord Ho. Li Ludao is just a weakling. Lin Yang can defeat him in 3 moves. Jiang Tian smiled leisurely and sipped his wine. He was calm and composed. Ha ha ha, Mr. Jiang is really arrogant. Marquis Shanxue was exasperated. He gritted his teeth and grinned. Son, teach Lin Yang a lesson. Destroy his Dantian and show this rogue cultivator what the supreme art of the Eastern Empire is. Jiang, you're just an arrogant person from a remote village. How dare you talk about the art of the royal family? You pretended to teach others and misled them. If Lin Yang loses, you'll bow and apologize to me? Do you dare to accept? He pointed his gun at Jiang Tian to humiliate Jiang Tian. After all, he had been humiliated too much in front of Jiang Tian. How could he not want revenge? Why wouldn't I? Your useless son will lose. Jiang Tian was full of confidence in Lin Yang. Since when did a rogue cultivator from outside the river become so confident? He's just a rogue cultivator from outside the river. What can he teach? Arrogant. How arrogant. Fight. Hurry up. Let's see how powerful Lin Yang is now. Let's see how effective this rogue cultivator's teaching is. Everyone was also in an uproar. They couldn't believe it. Many of Marquis Shanshui's subordinates started to shout. Chapter 1888. Hold on. Wait for me to release the test artifact. Seeing this, the eldest princess knew that she could not stop them. She could only smile helplessly and take out a jade pendant. She flicked it. The jade pendant flew out and floated in the air above the arena. Suddenly, it shone brightly and a curtain of light flowed and spread, forming a 1-mile-wide shield that enveloped the two of them. This was a soul formation test artifact made for the hidden dragon trials. It was like an independent test site and was extremely sturdy. Even if Lin Yang and Li Ludao fought until the sky and earth were turned upside down and their true essence and laws surged, it would not affect outsiders. Outsiders' spiritual energy was divine sense, so they could not pass it in to prevent cheating. The test site's shield was set up, which meant that the battle had begun. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation and excitement as they looked at the arena. Lin Yang, you're just a core formation cultivator, yet you keep provoking me. You're courting death. Take this. Since it was a martial arts competition, a simulation of the hidden dragon trials, and the eldest princess was present, Li Ludao didn't use his family's martial arts. Instead, he used one of the complementary combat skills of the East Rising Purple Chi, the Purple Cloud Palm. He was at the peak of the Golden Core stage. Instantly, his golden core roared and his true essence surged. In an instant, the atmosphere changed and the wind from his palms filled the air. The pressure caused the shield to ripple slightly. With a leap, his body was as light as a swallow. As he pushed his palms forward, purple gas gushed out. Layers upon layers of illusory palm shadows floated over like purple clouds, giving people a feeling that they could cover the sky and earth and that they could not be resisted. The shadows of his palms fill the sky and the falling petals dance. I can't believe that Li Ludao has cultivated the purple cloud palm to the peak of greater mastery. How rare. The Marquis of Shanshui should be proud to have such a talented child. In an instant, the crowd was filled with praises. The Marquis of Shanshui's tail was wagging to the sky. His swollen face was filled with joy and pride. Even the eldest princess nodded slightly. At the same time, she was worried for Lin Yang. This Li Ludao was quite perceptive. He was a character. She wondered if Lin Yang had improved after Mr. Zhang's guidance and could deal with this attack. That Lin Yang is just a core formation cultivator. How dare he go up? Zi Yunxiao coldly smiled. He couldn't wait to see Lin Yang vomiting blood after being beaten. As for Lin Yang, under the encirclement of the palm shadows in the sky, he was like a lonely boat floating in the turbulence. No matter how he looked at it, he couldn't avoid being swallowed by these palm shadows. On Li Liudao's face, the smile of a victor became even wider. On the other hand, Lin Hanqing was on the verge of screaming. Cold sweat poured down his back as he muttered, "It's over, it's over." Li Ludao wanted to kill him. If my son is hit by this palm, his dantian will definitely be shattered. At this moment, Lin Yang moved. To put it simply, Lin Yang just moved a step. Just this one step made the eldest princess, who had been watching the battle, suddenly have a strange look flash through her originally serious eyes. Because Lin Yang's step was very accurate. He just stepped on Li Liudao's weakest area, which was the most difficult area to cover. It was just such a small flaw. But Lin Yang seemed to have expected it. Almost at the same time when Ludao rushed over, he took a step forward. At the same time, Lin Yang slightly raised his arm, as if he was a flying immortal, and casually poked his finger. Grand Orient Finger. Whoosh! The sharp sound of the finger piercing through the air was like a meteor across the sky. No one knew where it came from, and no one knew where it was going. In the next moment, a blood-curdling scream was heard. The palm shadows that filled the sky suddenly dissipated like broken branches and withered leaves. Li Liudao's elegant and light body was like a weight as he was smashed to the ground from midair. Bang! It was a solid hit. The ground trembled slightly from the impact. With this fall, even the onlookers felt their bones itch and their scalps go numb. The person involved probably fell even harder. Oh my god, this move that Brother Jiang taught me is too amazing. Li Liudao was defeated by a single finger. The other person involved, Lin Yang, was also stunned on the spot. He couldn't believe it. Li Liudao's flaw was taught to Lin Yang by Jiang Tian. It should be said that this was the flaw and loophole of the East Rising Purple Qi and the Purple Cloud Palm. Anyone who followed this set of techniques and palm techniques would be exposed. It was absolutely unavoidable. Previously, Jiang Tian had told him. When the Purple Cloud Palm was used, one only needed to use this footwork and step at this angle to avoid all attacks. Then, if one used the Grand Orient Fingers, Immortal Guides the Way, to counterattack, one would be able to take the initiative. Like an antelope hanging its horn, it would be untraceable and the enemy would have no chance to defend. It would be as if they were standing there waiting to be beaten. Lin Yang just imitated it. However, he didn't have the confidence to win. He didn't expect the effect to be so obvious and so heaven-defying. Anyone who used it would know. Silence. The scene was silent. Everyone's posture and expression were different, but they couldn't make a single sound. It was like a still picture. There were many powerful cultivators present. Which one of them wasn't a nascent soul cultivator? For example, the Purple Marquis was a soul formation cultivator. However, that move just now was so fast that they didn't think they saw it clearly. It was obvious that Li Liudao had the upper hand, he was only one step away from defeating Lin Yang. However, Lin Yang only moved twice from beginning to end. The first time he took a step forward, and the second time he raised his arm and poked with a finger. With just two simple pokes, Li Liudao's whole body fell vertically to the ground as if he was suddenly struck by lightning. This situation was as funny as it could be. It was as shocking as it could be. If it wasn't for the tense atmosphere before, if it wasn't for the tense relationship between the Marquis of Shanshui and Jinyuan Marquis, they would almost suspect that Li Liudao deliberately went easy on Lin Yang and acted with him. Did he play a big trick to highlight Lin Yang's awesomeness? However, it didn't seem like it. In the silence, Jiang Tian gently put down his wine cup and sighed with regret. I originally thought that Li Liudao was also a talent and that Lin Yang would need 3 moves to defeat him. I didn't expect that with just a gentle poke, he wouldn't be able to do it. Bad. Disappointing. Whoosh. Countless gazes at the scene descended onto Jiang Tian in unison, and they were indescribably shocked. For a moment, there were countless guests with different thoughts. This move of Lin Yang is so clever. Could it be that Mr. Jiang taught him? Only a famous teacher can produce a good disciple, this Mr. Jiang is too heaven-defying. Yes, it seems that we can't underestimate the cultivators from beyond the river. As the saying goes, heroes don't ask where they come from. God has opened his eyes, the Lin family has picked up a treasure with this help. The dukes who were on good terms with Jinyuan Marquis were naturally secretly happy for the Lin family, and they admired and thought highly of Jiang Tian. In the battle just now, they didn't believe in Jiang Tian's guidance, and they were really worried for their old friend's son. However, this result was something they never dreamed of before. Impossible. Lin Yang was still in the core formation realm a few months ago, how could he improve so quickly? Even if Mr. Jiang was an immortal from the 9 heavens, he couldn't do it. Yes, rotten wood can't be carved, how can a loach grow into a dragon? Impossible. The dukes who were on bad terms with Jinyuan Marquis, or were on good terms with Purple Marquis, were puzzled. Some people began to suspect that it was not Jiang Tian's teaching, but Lin Yang, this guy, had been pretending to be a rich man? Pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Was he waiting for today's outbreak? The neutral ones were the majority. At this moment, their mood was more like watching the show. Of course, they were also puzzled by the strange scene in front of them. These neutral parties were the least pressured. Watching the show, they naturally wouldn't worry about things getting out of hand and not being able to clean up the situation. Among them, the most surprised and shocked was the eldest princess, Dongfang Moyu. She stared at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes, unable to believe it, and her heart was beating wildly. Chapter 1889. Seeing Li Liudao's terrifying attack just now, Dongfang Moyu almost wanted to announce the end of the battle. But before she could even shout out, the situation suddenly took a 180-degree turn. At this moment, Dongfang Moyu didn't care whether Li Liudao was killed or not, and completely forgot that Li Liudao had cultivated the purple cloud palm to the peak of greater mastery. There was only one picture in her mind, and that was Lin Yang's antelope hanging horn attack, which can't be traced. The Grand Princess was no stranger to the origin of the Eastern Emperor finger. She was very familiar with it. Like the purple cloud palm, it was also a supporting martial technique of the Eastern purple chi art. However, under Jiang Tian's guidance, there was a slight change in Lin Yang's finger. However, this change made her unable to completely understand the profoundness within it. It was as if this finger contained boundless profoundness. It was as if the various laws and the essence of the great Tao were reduced from complexity to simplicity, all of them condensed into this finger. What level of golden core? What level? At this moment, none of that was important. This finger was almost invincible. In Dongfang Moyu's opinion, it was actually the true meaning of the finger technique. It made her feel like she couldn't completely understand it. What kind of magical finger was this? This was the true guidance of an immortal. Lin Yang's talent is extremely poor. Naturally, he can't comprehend such a move. All of this was taught by Mr. Jiang. However, no matter how strong he is, he can't see the flaw in the purple cloud palm in such a short time, right? Dongfang Moyu was really shocked this time. She found that she couldn't understand this mysterious Mr. Jiang anymore. Finally, someone came to break the deathly silent atmosphere at the scene. Li Liudao was helped down by the guards. However, Marquis Shanshui found that his son's dantian was broken again. He couldn't help but turn pale with fright. His heart felt like it was being twisted by a knife. He knelt on the ground and roared with grievance, "Your Highness Grand Princess, you have to uphold justice. Lin Yang is too ruthless. My son's dantian was broken by him. It's only a month until the Hidden Dragon trials. How can it be repaired? My Marquis Shanshui's residence will definitely lose the Hidden Dragon trials. I want Lin Yang to pay with his life, pay with his life. Pay with his life." Lin Hanqing was so angry that his face turned ashen. He stepped out of the crowd and shouted angrily, "Marquis Shanshui, how dare you? Didn't you say that there would always be pain in the reform? Didn't you support the reformation of the college entrance examination into actual combat? Didn't you want your son to break Lin Yang's dantian? What? Now that it's your son's turn, your heart aches. You will have to pay with your life." The Marquis of Shanshui saw that the eldest princess had no intention of upholding justice, so he looked at the Marquis of Purple Robe and said, "Marquis of Purple Robe, please say something fair. This battle is indeed worthy of discussion." Purple Marquis did not expect such a situation to occur, and his heart was filled with confusion and shock. However, as soon as he opened his mouth, Lin Hanqing retorted angrily. "Purple Marquis, what is there to discuss? You're not going to take sides, are you? Have you forgotten what you just said? What was there to say about some descendants of dukes lying on the books of merit of their ancestors, not thinking about making progress, doing nothing all day long, being extremely lazy, only knowing how to drink and have fun, and being absent-minded towards cultivation? Regarding this, you deeply detest it." Now that he had the support of a great deity like Jiang Tian, he was not afraid of anyone. After all, even the eldest princess was afraid of Jiang Tian, who wanted her to massage his legs and shoulders. This seemed to be Purple Marquis' home ground, but as long as Jiang Tian was here, this was Jiang Tian's home ground, which was also his home ground. For a moment, Lin Hanqing's mouth was like a cannon, crazily shooting his mouth off. What college entrance examination using actual combat? It's to motivate those salted fish who don't think about making progress. What a treasured sword's edge must be sharpened, and only by sweating and bleeding can one preserve one's life in battle. Even if your son is beaten to death in the hidden dragon trials, that's because his skills are inferior, and he deserves it. What? Now that the results of the actual combat are not favorable to you, you want to discuss it, you want to hold my son accountable. Could it be that in your eyes, the Marquis of Shanshui's son is a precious treasure, and my son is mud to knead, my son is picked up? No. This Marquis said it's worth discussing, because the technique Lin Yang used is not the pure Eastern Emperor finger, and the rules of the Hidden Dragon Trials state that the children of the Marquis must use the Eastern Emperor finger and the purple cloud palm. Is your son suspected of cheating? Of course he has to take responsibility. Purple Marquis' face was ashen, and he slapped the table, arguing unreasonably. Yes, I also feel that the Eastern Emperor finger doesn't have this technique. It seems to be the immortal guides the way technique, but it seems to have changed. Could it be that Lin Yang really used a similar technique? After Purple Marquis' words, many of the Marquis' hearts were moved, and they whispered to each other, discussing animatedly. Yes. Lin Yang cheated, using an evil technique from beyond the river. In front of the eldest princess, he dared to cheat, so brazenly. This is disrespecting the eldest princess, deceiving the ruler. And all of this was taught by that evil disciple Jiang Xiqing. Her crime is punishable by death, punishable by death. Marquis Shanshui gritted his teeth and roared repeatedly. This guy was best at using the tiger's skin as a banner, and everything was related to the dignity of the royal family. Since the chief examiner, the eldest princess, is here, I'm afraid you have no right to say whether Lin Yang used the Eastern Emperor finger or not. Jiang Tian smiled calmly. Everyone's gazes uniformly landed on the eldest princess, Dongfang Moyu. Purple Marquis, shut up, everything is up to the eldest princess to decide. Jiang Tian's face was full of ridicule. Do you dare to deny it? If you dare to deny it, I'll let you massage my legs and shoulders. Although this move, Immortal Guides the Way, has been slightly modified, it is still the Eastern Emperor finger without a doubt. The eldest princess's face was serious, and she said neither too fast nor too slow, everyone, let's not tangle in this competition anymore. Marquis Shanshui, your son is injured, this princess is also very sad, I will give him pills to heal his injuries later. Although she had a fiery temper, she was also good at dealing with people. Although he wanted to suppress Purple Marquis Shanshui, he also understood the principle of appeasing people. Your Highness, the eldest princess's treatment, this subject refuses to accept it, absolutely refuses to accept it. May I ask the eldest princess, today the Eastern Emperor finger is allowed to be slightly changed, tomorrow it can be completely changed, and the day after tomorrow, will the Western Emperor finger be used, and the Southern Emperor finger be used as the Eastern Emperor finger? Is there any fairness in this hidden dragon trials? The Marquis of Shanshui was flustered and exasperated. He stood up, waved his hands and feet, clenched his teeth and choked with tears. It wasn't that he didn't know what was good for him, but he really couldn't accept such an outcome. Originally, he had wanted to rely on his son to turn the tables and show off. However, he had never thought that his son would actually be beaten to the point that his dantian had been shattered. This was no longer a matter of face. In the following hidden dragon trials, he would definitely suffer a crushing defeat. His title and fief would be stripped away. This was cutting off a person's path to survival. It was a real loss, a catastrophe. Impudent. If a successor of a duke were to use other techniques in the exam, would I not be able to see it? Do you think I'm blind? Seeing this scene, the eldest princess's pretty face suddenly became covered in frost as she coldly shouted. Originally, when Li Ludao attacked, he didn't hold back in the slightest and wanted nothing more than to beat Lin Yang to death. Now that his skills are inferior, it's fine if he loses. But you use such clever words, twisting words and forcing logic, and dare to question me. The eldest princess unleashed her might, her aura overflowing and extremely frightening. Teacher Jiang produced a great disciple and greatly increased Lin Yang's strength. He changed the Eastern Emperor finger to the immortal guides the way, which was wonderful and natural. It greatly improved the imperial family's techniques and greatly contributed to the imperial family and the empire. But you repeatedly insulted him as a villain, an arrogant person, and an evil cultivator. This is simply outrageous. Is it because the sword in my hand hasn't been stained with blood for too long? Do you think that this consort's sword is blunt, rusty, and not sharp enough to cut off your dog head? Come and try it. As she spoke, the flying sword in the hands of the sword's servant behind her was eager to give it a try, buzzing. Suddenly, a monstrous killing intent soared into the sky, enveloping an area of 100 miles. It was as if the surrounding temperature had suddenly dropped by a few dozen degrees, causing people to feel cold all over. It was as if they had taken a step into an ice cellar, shivering. Seeing this scene, Jiang Tian lightly smiled and secretly sighed. This little girl, although her temper is a bit fiery, sometimes she really is awesome. Chapter 1890. Although the Eastern Imperial family was weak, a centipede would not fall over even if it was dead. They still had power. At least, they had no problem dealing with an ordinary marquis. Besides, Dongfang Moyu was already at the soul formation stage and was known as the Empire's war goddess. Even Purple Marquis was slightly inferior to her. Marquis Shanshui, since the eldest princess has made such a judgment, we should trust her judgment. The simulation test has just begun, why are you in such a hurry? Purple Marquis hurriedly persuaded. Marquis Shanshui still wanted to argue, but when he heard the second half of the sentence, he gave up. Yes, Zi Yunxiao hasn't made a move yet. If he deals with the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family, he can still step on him and avenge his son. If Purple Marquis Shanshui grows up and protects himself in front of the emperor, I think he can still keep his title and fief. Thinking of this, Marquis Shanshui stared at Jiang Tian and said hatefully, I'll let you be proud for a moment. My son is not a genius, but there are countless geniuses in the empire. Your disciple will be beaten to death sooner or later. Without the protection of the Zhenyuan Marquis, you won't have a good ending. Sigh, Marquis Shanshui, you're too stingy. We are all trusted subordinates of the Imperium, feudal lords of the border. Any progress made by any successor of a feudal lord is a good thing for the country and a cause for celebration. At this time, Purple Marquis laughed softly and said to Lin Hanqing solemnly, Congratulations, brother Lin. Lin Yang has finally improved and stepped into the nascent soul stage. It can be said that he reached the sky in one step, a carp leaping over the dragon gate. It's really worth celebrating. Yes, Lin Yang is so promising. He can definitely keep his title and fief in the hidden dragon trials. Brother Lin, you can celebrate in advance. His speed of advancement is incredible. I remember that just a year ago, this kid was still at the core formation stage. Isn't that so? He's been stuck at the core formation stage for a while and can't take another step forward. This time, well, it's simply amazing the world with a single brilliant feat. Brother Lin, Lin Yang doesn't seem to be married yet. TSK, Marquis Zhenhai, what are you thinking? Lin Yang and Fang Goyu were a pair, childhood sweethearts. Do you want your daughter to get involved as well? The Grand Princess made the final decision, affirming Lin Yang's achievements. The Marquis of Shanshui did not dare to deny it, and even the Marquis of Purple Robe respectfully congratulated him. For a moment, the attitude of the nobles present changed greatly. They looked at Lin Hanqing and his son with a higher degree of respect. The sound of congratulations resounded everywhere. Some even wanted to propose marriage to Lin Yang. Oh my God, I really won. Brother Zhang's guidance is simply like the guidance of an immortal, and it allowed me to ascend to the limit. Lin Yang couldn't believe it, as if he was in a dream. After a long time, he finally came back to his senses and flew to his seat. He excitedly raised his wine cup and said, "Mister, let me toast you." Then, he drank the wine in one gulp. Jiang Tian had only dabbled a little. "Ha, thank you for your support. This is all thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Jiang." As the saying goes, a great teacher produces a great disciple. Lin Hanqing enjoyed the admiring and envious gazes of the other dukes as well as the waves of congratulatory words, and he felt extremely happy in his heart. He stood up with his head held high, and then he cupped his hands towards the surroundings. But when he saw the Marquis of Purple Robe looking at him with a smile that was not a smile, and Zi Yunxiao's eyes were also gloomy, Lin Hanqing suddenly realized that the Marquis of Purple Robe's words had a hidden meaning. One had to know that Lin Yang was only at the peak of the gold core stage, and half-step nascent soul stage was barely enough. But the Marquis of Purple Robe deliberately said that Lin Yang was in the nascent soul stage. This was to pave the way for the upcoming competition. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but shiver. He quickly smiled and cupped his hands. "Brother Purple Robe, you are wrong this time. Lin Yang is only at the peak of the gold core stage, not even half-step nascent soul stage." On this point, Grand Princess Mou can see it clearly. Indeed. The Grand Princess sipped her tea and nodded slightly. Lin Yang is indeed at the peak of the gold core stage, without the slightest sign of nascent soul stage, nor control the forbidden area, nor touch the laws. There's no doubt about that. She had experienced many battles between the dynasties and knew the conflicts between the nobles. She also knew that the Marquis of Purple Robe's ambition. She immediately judged that the Marquis wanted his son, Zi Yunxiao, to crush Lin Yang. But Zi Yunxiao had already stepped into the nascent soul stage. Nascent soul stage cultivators were called heavenly monarchs. Once they entered the nascent soul stage, they were in control of their own fate. Nascent soul stage heavenly monarchs could even control the laws of heaven and earth, form their own forbidden area, and have all kinds of incredible abilities. Although the Saint Origin continent belonged to the central galaxy, where the laws were strict and the laws were firm, nascent soul stage heavenly monarchs still had the power to move mountains and fill seas, and the power to crush cities with a roar. Nascent soul stage, even half-step nascent soul stage, was fundamentally different from gold core stage. Gold core stage cultivators only controlled primordial chi, and used true essence to form Dharma form. Compared to the forbidden area of nascent soul stage cultivators, it was on a completely different level. If one forcefully fought against it, it would be like an ant trying to shake a tree, or an egg hitting a stone. Because of the huge gap between gold core and nascent soul stage cultivators were exempted from the hidden dragon trials, and kept their titles and fiefs. This was to prevent the Jindan heirs from fighting against the nascent soul geniuses, resulting in casualties. "Ha, Princess Royal, you are underestimating Lin Yang, this child. You are also underestimating Mr. Jiang, this famous teacher. Mr. Jiang is a miraculous man. He cured the princess's chronic illness and helped Lin Yang reach the ultimate level. His knowledge and ability are far beyond ours." Purple Marquis looked at Jiang Tian meaningfully and smiled. "When I look at this Mr. Jiang, I feel like I'm in the depths of an abyss, unfathomable. I think he has a way to hide his nascent soul stage energy and suppress his power. We thought Lin Yang was only a core formation cultivator, but after fighting with Li Ludao, we found out that he was a peak stage golden core cultivator." Jiang Tian took a sip of his tea with a faint smile on his face, refusing to comment. Purple Marquis didn't mind Jiang Tian's arrogance and indifference. He continued with a smile, "Then I can't help but ask, is this Lin Yang's limit? I don't think so. He might already be a nascent soul cultivator. Even if he's just a golden core cultivator, he's still a nascent soul cultivator." Purple Marquis, you're too imaginative. "My son is useless." Lin Hanqing felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. He felt uncomfortable and quickly smiled. "Lin Hanqing, whether he's a nascent soul cultivator or not, we'll know after a fight. Purple Marquis was a bit impatient. Also, you should know that in the Hidden Dragon trials, it's a big crime for a duke's descendant to falsely report their power. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. He aggressively asked. You're so secretive. Could it be that you're hiding your son's cultivation level because you want him to suddenly explode in power during the Hidden Dragon trials and kill the heirs of the dukes who have conflicts with you? You're using your position to avenge your personal grudge, and you're on the same side and attacking those who don't? Or even intensify the conflict between the dukes and the smaller dukes, causing unrest in the empire? These words were murderous and heartrending. It was simply one high hat after another being placed on him. Not only did he want to raise Lin Yang's power, he also wanted to force him to fight with Zi Yunxiao. Moreover, if Lin Yang didn't agree to the fight, he would be cursed and Lin Hanqing would be called a schemer with evil intentions. In reality, it was Purple Marquis who wanted to reform the Hidden Dragon trials. He wanted to use actual combat to suppress the smaller dukes and even intensify the conflict between the dukes and cause unrest in the empire. He wanted to pave the way for the late Emperor Dongfang Jie to regain control of the country. But he put all these crimes on the head of Lin Hanqing, who stood aloof from worldly affairs. Chapter 1891. Lin Hanqing was not good with words. Hearing this, he could only slap the table and laugh. Purple Marquis, you are the biggest joke in the world. When did I ever think? Since you don't think so, then let's compete. Purple Marquis was still unmoved, and smiled sinisterly. Let Lin Yang reveal his background. If he is really a nascent soul, then he can avoid the test. If he is a Jin Dan, then he can avoid participating in the nascent soul competition and causing unnecessary accidents. Why wouldn't we do it? He threw out a look, and a few of the nobles who supported him immediately jeered. Our Eastern Empire has a strong martial spirit and advocates cultivation. You and I have to work hard, cultivate diligently every day, go to the battlefield to kill the enemy, and fight for the country and the people. Why, when it is your son's turn to compete, you are so evasive? Excessive modesty is excessive pride. Brother Lin, you are so arrogant, aren't you looking down on the other genius heirs? You think they are not worthy to compete with your son. This old man is the first to support Purple Marquis' proposal. Lin Yang wants to strike while the iron is hot and fight again. Let us old fellows see the elegance of the genius heirs. Today is full of distinguished guests, and the eldest princess has personally come. This is the time for Lin Yang to show off his skills and amaze the world. This marquis is very optimistic about him. These people were completely watching the fun, and did not mind the trouble. They wanted to force Lin Yang to fight again and give Purple Marquis a chance to turn the tables. It was like a gamble. Lin Hanqing had already won one round and wanted to take the money and leave, but others had spent so much effort to set up the game, so how could they let you leave the table so easily? They had to continue the gamble and make you, Lin Hanqing, lose everything. Marquis Shanshui smiled with ulterior motives. That's right, it is just a friendly competition, just to liven things up for eldest Princess Mou. Why are you still so evasive? Don't tell me you don't put eldest Princess Mou in your eyes? Arrogant, disrespectful to the royal family. This traitor seemed loyal, and his words did not deviate from the dignity of the royal family, but in fact, he was full of his own calculations. How is this marquis disrespectful to the royal family? How is this arrogant? I'm just afraid that Lin Yang won't be able to defeat him and will be seriously injured. Then, in the future, in the Hidden Dragon trials. Lin Hanqing's face flushed red. He simply wanted to flick his sleeves and leave. This was simply a feast at Hongmen. That's right, I appreciate your kind intentions, my two beloved ministers. However, for the sake of protecting the heirs of the vassals, I still believe that this competition is not suitable to be held. At this moment, Grand Princess Mou couldn't help but laugh bitterly. She extended her jade-like hand and gently waved it as she spoke to stop him. The eldest princess vetoed. Just when everyone thought that the battle was over, the Marquis of Purple Robe and the Marquis of Shanshui sighed gloomily and gritted their teeth, and Lin Hanqing also thought that he had escaped and was secretly rejoicing. An untimely voice abruptly rang out again. Of course, there's nothing wrong with protecting the heirs. Although the eldest princess is kind and considerate, you don't need to worry too much. I believe that Lin Yang will definitely be merciful and know when to stop. He won't kill Ziyun Shao. As soon as these words came out, everyone went crazy, and their gazes fell on Jiang Tian, who was in the corner. What does he mean by that? Lin Yang is going to be merciful. Doesn't this mean that he's certain that Lin Yang will definitely win against Ziyun Shao? Ziyun Shao is a nascent soul heavenly lord. Lin Yang is just a golden core cultivator. This is the difference between heaven and earth, the difference between an immortal and a mortal. Does he have any common sense? For a moment, many vassals looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief, as if they were looking at a madman. This guy is an idiot. Does he really think that he's a rogue cultivator from outside the galaxy? That's right. Even if he pushed Lin Yang to the golden core level quickly, he must have used elixirs and secret arts to forcefully achieve it. His combat power is actually reduced. It's already very lucky for him to be able to defeat Li Ludao. How can he be matched against Ziyun Shao, a nascent soul cultivator? It's not an exaggeration to say that compared to Li Ludao, Ziyun Shao is a genius. Besides, Li Ludao's dantian was shattered and he barely managed to return to the peak, but his cultivation is definitely unstable. He can't be compared to Ziyun Shao at all. This guy is really interesting. This is a godly assist from our teammate. Meanwhile, the vassals in Marquis Purple Robe's camp were gloating and secretly delighted. Could this guy be a spy that Dongfang Jia placed in Lin Hanqing's mansion to help us? That's right. Isn't he giving Lin Yang's head to us? He's here to help us. As for Marquis Purple Robe and Marquis Shanshui, they couldn't wait to hug Jiang Tian warmly and thank him for giving them the head. It's good enough that he won one round. He should stop while he's ahead. Does he really think that he's a master from one of the holy lands and divine sects that can turn something rotten into something magical? Sigh, he's pushing the Lin family into a fire pit. If Lin Yang loses this time, he'll lose everything. That's right. If Lin Yang is injured, then he'll be at a loss in the Hidden Dragon trials. He'll lose his title and fief. After all, the previous battle with Li Ludao was only a simulation. Even if he won against Li Ludao, it would only be a matter of face. As for Lin Hanqing's friends, they all sighed and felt depressed. They felt that Jiang Tian was a pig teammate. This time, Lin Hanqing was probably screwed over miserably. Even Lin Hanqing looked at Jiang Tian, flabbergasted. His heart was in turmoil. Little Princess Dongfang also stared at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes. She couldn't believe it. As for Lin Yang, his face was pale with fright. He winked at Jiang Tian and laughed. Ha, everyone, please don't make a fool of yourself. Our great guest Jiang has drunk too much. Drunken words, you can't take them seriously. Your Highness eldest princess, uncles, please don't blame him. If you want to blame someone, blame Marquis Purple Robe's precious drunken immortal wine for being too strong. He kicked Jiang Tian's foot from below. In his spiritual sense, he was about to cry, "Brother, don't hurt me." Ziyun Shao is a nascent soul cultivator. Even if there were 10 of me, I wouldn't be able to beat one of his fingers. He was really scared to the point of going crazy. It was to the extent that even eldest Princess Mou felt that Jiang Tian's words were a bit too arrogant. Her pretty face was slightly dignified. She followed Lin Yang's words and said meaningfully, "Minister Jiang wants to liven things up for me. I appreciate your kind intentions, but this consort is also a bit tired from supervising their intense battle. This consort is mentally draining and I'm a bit tired. Next, let's change the taste and have some singing and dancing. I remember that the Southern Borders shuffle dance is very lively and lively. Cough cough, my old arms and legs are a bit sore again. I want someone to massage my legs and shoulders again." Jiang Tian suddenly coughed lightly. He looked up at the sky and said inexplicably, "Pfft." Dong Fanging stared at Jiang Tian. Her beautiful eyes instantly curved into a cute crescent moon shape, and she directly spat out a mouthful of tea. Others might not know, but they knew very well. Jiang Tian was clearly threatening the eldest princess. If she dared to stop him, if she didn't allow him to fight, he would reveal the bet in front of everyone. He would make her massage his back and shoulders in public, making her lose face. For a moment, Lin Hanqing and his son were in a dilemma. They were helpless. Do you have to compete? Are you a fool? I'm afraid that you'll lose face, so I'm helping you find compensation. You have to force me to shut up, you have to ask for trouble. Eldest Princess Mou was so angry that she gritted her teeth and glared at Jiang Tian. She wished that she could swallow Jiang Tian alive. However, seeing Jiang Tian so determined, she could only chuckle and say, "Sigh, forget it. Singing and dancing, music, and decadent music are indeed too cliché for a woman like me. Listening to them makes me sleepy. I'm more interested in a good man's fight. Then let's fight again." Chapter 1892. I'm here to cheer up Princess Royal and make her smile. Sure enough, Zi Yunxiao jumped onto the martial arts field and crossed the distance of a few miles in an instant, winning the cheers of the entire hall. Good. Beautiful. That movement technique is really beautiful. That's the movement technique of the purple cloud palm, cloud stepping steps. Marquis Zi Yunxiao, like father, like son. Zi Yunxiao has the style of his father. The dukes and heirs all cheered. Many of the heirs looked at Zi Yunxiao with complicated gazes of worship and fear. There was a feeling of yearning even though they couldn't reach him. In terms of strength, charm and bearing, Zi Yunxiao was indeed 1,000 times more outstanding than Li Ludao. He was comparable to the geniuses of the four marquis families and was only second to the royal family's crown prince Dong Fangding. Haha, although my son is not bad, it's all because of hard work. He can't compare to brother Lin's son, who reached the nascent soul stage in 4 months under the guidance of a famous teacher. That's like a fish leaping over the dragon gate, soaring to the sky. Purple Marquis laughed and glanced at Jiang Tian with a hint of mockery in his complacency. He was clearly saying that Jiang Tian was mediocre and eager for instant benefits. Although he had quickly increased Lin Yang's cultivation, his foundation was not solid enough. In the end, it was just an illusion. On the martial arts field, Zi Yunxiao's face was warm as he cupped his hands politely and said, "Congratulations to brother Lin Yang for reaching the peak stage of the Golden Core stage. I'm willing to suppress my cultivation to the same level and spar with brother Lin Yang. I'll stop when the time is right, just to show the elegance of the heirs of the dukes, to promote martial arts and to make Princess Royal smile." His words were full of consideration, but there was a hint of killing intent in the depths of his eyes. Can I go?" Lin Yang's face was pale and panicked. He pulled Jiang Tian's clothes and said pitifully, "I'll die if I go. Can't we just leave? I'm not afraid of being cursed. At worst, it's not like I've only been known as an incompetent hedonist for 1 or 2 days. Too much debt won't weigh me down." What Zi Yunxiao meant by suppressing his cultivation to the Golden Core realm was to not use his soul, laws, or forbidden domain. However, a soul was still a soul at the end of the day. Even his own true essence was 10 times thicker than a peak Golden Core. This was a qualitative change. It could be said that his words were pleasant to hear, but it was still a complete suppression. "Go up. He is no match for you," Jiang Tian said leisurely. In Jiang Tian's opinion, there were many problems with the East Rising Purple Qi. Especially during the process of opening the dantian and acupoints, condensing the golden core, and transforming the dantian into a spirit embryo, there were many mistakes and unnecessary steps. After Jiang Tian improved the technique, not only did Lin Yang's cultivation speed increase, but his amethyst cloud palm and Dongwang finger were also much faster. If a cultivator was a car, then a golden core would be the engine. True essence was provided by the golden core, gushing out from the dantian and surging along the meridians to form an attack. The original technique and true essence seemed to have taken many rough and bumpy detours, but after the improvement, it was like a natural moat had become a smooth path, incomparably smooth. Therefore, in Jiang Tian's opinion, even if Zi Yunxiao's true essence was more abundant, it was like a vast ocean being blocked in a river. He could only use 1/100th of it. On the other hand, although Lin Yang's reserves of true essence were not as good as his, he had the upper hand. How could he not win? Are you for real? I'm scared. Lin Yang drank a few mouthfuls of drunken immortal, as if to boost his courage. Don't tell me you don't believe me. Jiang Tian was a little annoyed. When I met you in my previous life, you weren't so cowardly. On the stage, seeing that Lin Yang was still not going up, Zi Yunxiao smiled with his hands behind his back. Brother Lin Yang, I've heard that you and Fang Goyu were childhood sweethearts, and that your love was as deep as the sea. But Fang Goyu is the daughter of a general, a dignified nascent soul cultivator. Not only is your cultivation poor, you're also as cowardly as a mouse. How can you be worthy of such a beauty? You're courting death. With these words, Lin Yang's eyes immediately turned cold, and an ominous glint shot out. It was as if the little white rabbit had turned into an ancient beast that could swallow the heavens and devour the earth. That's right. Since ancient times, phoenixes have been paired with dragons. How can there be a chicken paired with a phoenix? Lin Yang, if you don't dare to go up, then you're a cowardly rat. How can you be worthy of a phoenix in the sky? The Marquis of Shanshui was also crazily mocking Lin Yang from the side. That's right. The Marquis of Shanshui's analogy is wonderful. It's too vivid. A group of vassals of the Marquis of Purple Robes were all jeering. As for Lin Hanqing, Dong Fangying, and the eldest princess, when they heard this, they knew that it was going to be bad. Because Lin Yang and Fang Goyu's feelings were too deep, he would definitely fly into a rage for a beauty. What are you being so arrogant for? I'll fight you today. Sure enough, Lin Yang smashed the wine cup on the ground, stood up, and flew onto the stage. Ha, brother Lin Yang, that's a real man. Your spirit of not being afraid of death, I'm a little impressed. Seeing Lin Yang go up on stage, Zi Yunxiao's face also revealed a sinister smile. He looked at Jiang Tian and said with a smile, Mr. Jiang, I have to thank you for this divine assistance. You sent this trash up on stage so that I can beat him up and vent my anger for my brother Li Ludao. Zi Yunxiao, you say that others are trash and you think that you're a genius. However, in my eyes, you're just trash. You're far inferior to Lin Yang. Jiang Tian was not polite with him and directly retorted. In his previous life, Jiang Tian had also been humiliated by him many times. However, at that time, Jiang Tian was just a small foundation establishment cultivator. How could he be his opponent? However, in this life, Jiang Tian had returned with the memories of 10,000 years of cultivation. He was incomparably powerful. There was no need for him to do anything. Just Lin Yang, who had been taught by him, would be able to torture him until he wished he was dead. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Good. Let's see how long you can be so rampant. Today, I'll first take care of Lin Yang, then I'll take care of you. Zi Yunxiao also gave a sinister smile. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. As he spoke, his feet moved slightly. His nascent soul trembled and a huge amount of purple vital essence gushed out from his spirit embryo and meridians. They surrounded his body like purple true dragons. His entire body was covered in a dense purple aura like a divine cloud. Purple chi from the east, like a dragon coiling around his body. As expected of the number one genius among the heirs of the southern feudal lords. Dharma. This is the golden core Dharma. Most importantly, these true dragons seem to be corporeal. They're incomparably solid and have the aura of an emperor. It can be said that Zi Yunxiao has grasped the true essence and profound meaning of the Eastern Purple Chi technique. Everyone clicked their tongues and sighed in amazement. Even Lin Hanqing and many other soul formation stage feudal lords were ashamed of their inferiority. When they were in the golden core stage, they did not have such an aura. Humph. Lin Yang snorted coldly. He stood still according to the footwork that Jiang Tian had taught him. His eyes narrowed slightly like an old monk in meditation. Lin Yang, are you not going to kneel down and beg for mercy? Don't tell me that you're not afraid of death at all. Zi Yunxiao saw that Lin Yang did not cower even after he had displayed his vital essence and dharma. He could not help but sneer disdainfully. Afraid? If I was afraid, I wouldn't have gone up on stage. Lin Yang suppressed the fear and nervousness in his heart and said through gritted teeth. Today, he was burdened with the glory of his clan, Fang Goyu's feelings, and Jiang Tian's expectations. If he cowered, then he was not a man. Chapter 1893. Looks like you're very confident. Zi Yunxiao paced slowly, as if victory was already in his hands. He was calm and said with a smile, "Good, I appreciate it. However, since we're going to compete, there should be a prize. Otherwise, winning or losing won't be exciting enough, and the eldest princess won't be happy." Prize? What prize? Lin Yang stared at him carefully, his body tense and his eyes alert. If you lose, the herb garden at Tiger Head Ridge will be mine. Zi Yunxiao said coldly. Yes, this is a good idea. Marquis Purple Robe also laughed and said, if my son wins, I will give the herb garden to Marquis Shanshui on the spot, as a sign of sympathy for Li Liudao's injury, and as a way to spread the empire's friendly atmosphere. Thank you for your generosity. Marquis Shanshui immediately stood up and bowed deeply. Li Liudao was injured, so he would lose the hidden dragon trials without a doubt. His fief and title might even be taken away. However, with the fief at Tiger Head Ridge, he could still support his family. As long as he still had his strength, he might be able to make a comeback in the next hidden dragon trials. Zi Yunxiao is so loyal. He's definitely not as stingy as Lin Hanqing. Look, this is the magnanimity of the empire's marquis, this is the strength of nobles. Many of the marquises in Zi Yunxiao's camp also praised. It had to be said that Zi Yunxiao and Zi Yunxiao's move was very beautiful. They had an open and aboveboard reason to weaken the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family, and also united the camp. On the stage, Lin Yang clenched his teeth and said, "Fine, I can agree to this bet." With these words, Lin Hanqing also closed his eyes in despair. He knew that the situation had already reached an unsalvageable stage, and it was too late to say anything. However, he also knew that the moment Lin Yang stepped onto the stage, everything was decided. Zi Yunxiao would not show mercy, and as long as Lin Yang was injured, he would lose the hidden dragon trials, and his fief and title would be taken away. The only difference was that they would belong to the imperial family or the marquis. But, what if you lose? Suddenly, Jiang Tian's voice sounded. Zi Yunxiao looked below the stage again, stunned, and said in disbelief, "What did you say?" "I'll lose." "Yes, you will lose." "What if you lose?" Jiang Tian was unperturbed. "Ha, Mr. Jiang really knows how to joke. I can't believe I lost." Zi Yunxiao was enraged. The 9 beautiful true dragons around him roared towards the sky. "Since you're so confident that you won't lose, then there's no harm in making this bet. If you lose, the 13 small cities around Jianghan City will belong to the Lin family." Jiang Tian smiled coldly. Mr. Jiang is so wise. However, Grand Princess Mo Yu looked at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes and sighed in her heart. If the 13 small cities around Jianghan City were to fall into the hands of the Marquis of Zhenyuan's Lin family, it would form an encirclement around Jianghan City and the Marquis of Purple Robe, which would be equivalent to choking the other party's throat. As long as the other party made the slightest move, they could attack with all their might. This was a great thing for Zhenyuan Ho and even for the empire. Good. I promise you. This matter was of great importance. On the stage, Zi Yunxiao did not speak immediately. However, below the stage, the Marquis of Purple Robe pondered for a while, then laughed sinisterly and directly made the decision. Good, the Marquis does not joke. Then I will be the witness. Grand Princess Mo also laughed tenderly. At this moment, everyone felt that this banquet was strange and treacherous. Each of the Marquis and their successors tensed up and stared unblinkingly at the stage. Even Grand Princess Mo's heart was beating wildly. This was not a contest between the Marquis successors, nor was it a mock exam of the Hidden Dragon trials. It was a contest between the Marquis of Purple Robe, Lin Hanqing, and Jiang Tian. It was the prelude to the struggle for hegemony, and the prelude to the great turmoil of the empire. Ha, just because you found a trash-loose cultivator from outside the river to be your teacher, you are not my opponent. On the stage, Zi Yunxiao finally made his move. He laughed loudly and stepped on the ground. The purple qi around his body turned into 2 streams of qi. The purple qi was like a pair of wings on his back, and he suddenly shot up 1,000 meters into the sky. The purple qi circulated, true yuan flowed, and an angry dragon roared. Zi Yunxiao's fingertips seemed to be entwined with lightning and fire. There was a faint purple qi attached to it, giving people a shocking pressure. A sword from the west. Zi Yunxiao used the Eastern Emperor finger, condensing qi into qi. 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 The purple true yuan condensed into flying swords, almost ignoring the rules of the void. They formed strange streamlines and shot towards Lin Yang like a torrential downpour. There was no way to dodge. Flying fire meteor. The purple qi was like a star. Zi Yunxiao flicked his fingers and moved them as if they were flying. For a moment, a rain of swords flew in the air like flying fire meteors. They locked onto the 100-meter space and covered the entire battlefield. Strange, strange, why is his speed so slow? Is he a snail? The moment he used his cultivation technique, Lin Yang suddenly had a very strange feeling. It was as if the entire world was moving in slow motion, and everything had slowed down. The rain of swords that were originally shooting wildly and difficult to see accurately were like pieces of feathers that slowly floated down. The trajectory and loopholes of their movement were all clearly visible. However, he immediately realized that this was the result of his cultivation method circulating faster and his divine sense becoming sharper and more intuitive. Brother Zhang's cultivation technique was too miraculous. He was overjoyed, but Lin Yang's reaction was very fast. He took a step forward and his body exploded into the air. Like a true dragon twisting in the air, he moved at unbelievable angles, refracting through the attacks. Like an antelope, he nimbly dodged the rain of swords and meteors, instantly closing in on Zi Yunxiao to 100 meters away. Look at my finger, I'll shoot your right arm. Lin Yang slowly let out a strange howl and pointed with his finger. Qi. What? His speed is actually so terrifying. Seeing Lin Yang rapidly approaching him from the sky, Zi Yunxiao was already terrified. When he heard Lin Yang's words and wanted to dodge, he felt a sharp pain in his right arm. Lin Yang's finger had already hit his right arm. Shoot your left knee. Zi Yunxiao felt a sharp pain in his left knee. Blood flowed out. It was obvious that he had been hit again. Damn it! When did the Eastern Emperor finger's speed become so fast? Zi Yunxiao gritted his teeth in disbelief. Shoot your third rib on the left. Shoot your right shoulder blade. Shoot your left ankle. The more Lin Yang attacked, the more carefree he became. It was as if he was reciting a book. When he spoke, the finger light would hit. Every single one of his fingers was like a celestial that had descended from the heavens, ethereal and indestructible. It was also like a skilled butcher dismembering an ox, instantly destroying all of Zi Yunxiao's imperceptible tiny openings. Every time he called out a position, Zi Yunxiao would be flustered, but he could not dodge a single attack. How frustrating! Zi Yunxiao was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. In terms of cultivation, he was a nascent soul cultivator, and his opponent was only a golden core cultivator. In terms of finger strength, he felt that he was 10 times stronger than his opponent. In terms of movement, he was also far stronger than his opponent. However, against a golden core cultivator, he felt like he was being suppressed everywhere. He could only passively take a beating. It was as if his every move was predicted by his opponent. His every weak point was in his opponent's eyes. His opponent's every move was not fast, but he was always able to predict his opponent's moves and suppress him in advance. The more Zi Yunxiao fought, the more frustrated he felt. At the same time, he had to admit that if his opponent's finger's strength was just a little bit stronger, his spirit embryo would have been destroyed and he would have become a cripple. The circulation of the Eastern Purple Qi technique has also been changed, but it seems to be smoother and smoother. Yeah. How can he see the flaws in these techniques? He's a genius. Heaven-defying. Too heaven-defying. At this moment, everyone turned pale with fright. They turned to look at Jiang Tian in disbelief. Everyone knew that Lin Yang's cultivation was taught by Jiang Tian. The Eastern Purple Qi technique he cultivated was also modified by Jiang Tian. If Lin Yang was the actor in this fight, then Jiang Tian was the director of this show. He was the true master behind the scenes. Without a single word, he was completely dissolute. Chapter 1894. Not a single word, yet he's so outstanding. At this moment, everyone had such a feeling towards Jiang Tian. They were all shocked and in disbelief. Generally speaking, cultivation that was increased by secret techniques or pills was like a sand castle. Although it was magnificent, it could not withstand the wind and rain. A single wave would turn it into dust. However, not only did Lin Yang's cultivation increase rapidly, his battle strength was also vigorous and solid. He could even beat Zi Yunxiao, who was at the nascent soul stage. This was too heaven-defying. Do you still want to fight? On the stage, Lin Yang suddenly stopped his attack and flew backwards. He looked at Zi Yunxiao from afar and sneered. You! At this moment, Zi Yunxiao was covered in blood and was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled and he no longer had the demeanor of the number one genius of the southern border. He was like a beggar on the street. I don't accept this. He gritted his teeth and his face was twisted as he glared at Lin Yang with hatred. He was unable to accept the fact that the good-for-nothing silk pants that he had mocked and ridiculed all day had actually defeated him in front of the eldest princess, in front of everyone, in front of all the vassals. Moreover, he had lost so miserably and thoroughly that he did not even have the strength to fight back. You don't accept this? Then, let's fight again. Lin Yang took a stance and his battle intent surged as he soared into the sky. Zi Yunxiao, back down. You've lost. However, Zi Shan hurriedly shouted. He had already seen that the improved version of Lin Yang's cultivation method and combat skills completely occupied the dominant position and was in a crushing position. If they continued fighting, Zi Yunxiao would not have the slightest chance of turning the situation around. Instead, he would be more heavily injured and this would affect his performance in the Hidden Dragon trials. He might even be at the bottom. Following Purple Marquis's roar, the battle finally came to an end. Yes, father. Zi Yunxiao gritted his teeth and jumped off the stage with a face full of humiliation. Feeling humiliated, he did not greet the crowd and entered a cultivation room with a gloomy face. He silently swallowed pills and healed his injuries. It's over. He won. Is this my useless playboy son? He actually defeated the genius Zi Yunxiao. Lin Hanqing was dumbfounded and could not believe it. This, Zi Yunxiao actually, lost. The Marquis of Purple Robe, the Marquis of Shanshui, and the other lackeys were also in disbelief. However, in contrast to Lin Hanqing's ecstasy, Purple Marquis, and the others looked as if they had lost their parents. First of all, there was a wager. The 13 small cities around Jianghan City not only represented a considerable amount of wealth and vast land, but also restricted Jianghan City. Secondly, Zi Yunxiao was already injured. Even though they were all external injuries and didn't harm the foundation of his spirit embryo, his performance in the Hidden Dragon trials would definitely be affected. His battle prowess would plummet and his ranking would plummet as well. This would affect the influence of Purple Robe Marquis. It could be said that Purple Marquis had suffered the most losses in this battle. As for the Marquis of Shanshui, his face was ashen. Although he was Purple Marquis' supporter and henchman, his relationship with Purple Marquis was not good enough for Purple Marquis to take out money to support him. Without the herb garden in Tiger Head Ridge, Li Ludao was destined to fail miserably in the following hidden dragon trials. His title and land would be taken away, and he would become a loner. Sometimes, death wasn't scary at all. However, the most painful thing was to wait helplessly for death to come. However, the one who was most shocked was Princess Mou. The battle between Lin Yang and Li Ludao was won by an instant kill. There was no exchange of blows, so what was shown was only the tip of the iceberg of the improved Eastern Purple Qi technique. However, this time with Si Yun Xiao, they had exchanged many blows, and it was also a more complete demonstration of Jiang Tian's improved Eastern Purple Qi technique. Princess Mou had been using this technique as her main cultivation method since she was young. She had cultivated it for 100 years, so including Purple Cloud Palm and Eastern Imperial Finger, she could be said to be very familiar with them. However, she didn't notice any of these flaws. However, after this battle, she realized that these cultivation methods and martial skills did indeed have a huge flaw, a fatal flaw. And Jiang Tian, on the other hand, saw through them like a fire. He found all the flaws in this technique and its supporting techniques. And Lin Yang was using these flaws to win with skill, to defeat the strong with the weak, and to turn the tables. The key was that the speed of his true essence was 10 times or 100 times faster than before, and his combat strength had also increased by a lot. It could be said that Jiang Tian had turned this set of cultivation method and the two sets of battle skills into something magical, reaching an unimaginable height. And the precise understanding of cultivation, the knowledge from a strategically advantageous position, and the broad vision reflected in this simply made Princess Mou gasp in amazement and admire him to the extreme. This little brat is simply too heaven-defying. Could it be that he is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty, or a saint who was reincarnated, or even an almighty from the immortal world who descended to the mortal world? Princess Mou's clear and beautiful eyes were fixed on Jiang Tian's indifferent side profile. Because of her excitement, her full chest rose and fell violently. Princess Mou was excited for a reason. If these improved techniques were obtained by the imperial family, once they were spread among the imperial family and the nobles, the strength of the empire would rapidly increase. Of course, this was also an effective way for the imperial family to win over the hearts of the people and increase their cohesion. Who didn't want to become stronger? Who didn't want to control more territory and power? And if he wanted to cultivate this improved heaven-defying technique, he had to be loyal to the imperial power. Mr. Jiang is so powerful. Princess Dongfang, on the other hand, cheered in the midst of the silence. She was so excited that her face was flushed red. She waved her fists and her beautiful eyes curved into a beautiful crescent moon shape. She looked at Jiang Tian with admiration written all over her face. This tender voice called out, breaking the silence of the scene. The scene was in an uproar as all the vassals and heirs began to whisper to each other and discuss. Lin Yang fought beautifully. Genius. In today's battle, he suppressed all the heroes and defeated the genius. He can be said to be the #1 genius of our southern border. Some of the vassals were shocked and sighed with emotion. Bullshit. He's just a mediocre person. The real genius is that Mr. Jiang, turning something rotten into something magical, carving rotten wood into a genius. Some of the vassals immediately corrected him. Their tone was also sour. That's right, that's true. This Mr. Jiang is simply skilled and has a keen eye. His understanding of the 3 techniques is unfathomable, and he can see all the loopholes and inadequacies clearly. That's right. Once improved, he can find the loopholes and fill in the gaps. It's like changing a set of techniques, reaching the limit and ascending to the heavens. Sigh, how can the Lin family of the Zhenyuan Marquis be so lucky? With my son's talent, if he were to be guided by such a master, wouldn't he soar to the heavens? Many of the vassals' gazes fell on Jiang Tian with traces of greed. It was as if they were misers who had seen a treasure and couldn't wait to pick it up and run away. Mr. Jiang, this humble one has the utmost respect for you. I wonder if you can condescend to be a guest lecturer in my residence and guide my good-for-nothing children. The remuneration is easy to negotiate, the price is 3 or even 4 times that of the Zhenyuan Marquis. I have always been courteous to the wise. Some people were only moved, while others directly took action. Immediately, Marquis Qing Shan, who was seated, stood up and walked to Jiang Tian with a cup in both hands. He bowed respectfully and drained the cup in one gulp, throwing out an olive branch. What courteous to the wise! Is our Mr. Jiang a corporal? He's a genuine expert. Look at your high and mighty appearance, putting on the airs of a vassal. Not only Marquis Qing Shan, but another Marquis, Marquis Blackwind, also quickly walked over and frantically undermined his competitors. Then, with a face full of joy, he said, if Mr. Jiang is willing to grace my residence with your presence, I'm willing to call you brother and be sworn brothers. I'll help you compete for the position of Marquis. Chapter 1895. The words of the Black Wind Marquis were extremely tempting. For a moment, many of the dukes slapped their thighs, shouting that the Black Wind Marquis was decisive and cunning. Although the Eastern Empire was a hereditary nobility and feudal system, in order to recruit capable people, they had also opened up some openings for the lower levels. For example, if a cultivator became brothers with a duke and obtained the permission of the imperial court, they would obtain the qualifications to participate in the hidden dragon trials and compete for titles and lands. For a time, Jiang Tian was surrounded by more than 20 southern dukes, all of them trying to curry favor, all of them trying to be humble, and all of them calling each other brothers. There was only one goal: come to my residence to preach and learn. As a result, Lin Hanqing and his son, who had come to express their gratitude, could not squeeze in. On the other hand, the originally lively Marquis of Purple Robe was instantly deserted in front of the door. Only the Marquis of Shanxue and a few other loyal followers were there. But even so, among these loyal marquises, there were some who secretly made up their minds to contact Lin Hanqing and Jiang Tian in private to see if they could give their descendants pointers. It could be said that after this battle, the wind had unknowingly changed. Because of Jiang Tian, more than half of the dukes had turned from Marquis Purple Robe to Marquis Zhenyuan Lin Hanqing. Lin Hanqing had instantly replaced him, becoming the core of the southern dukes. Black Wind Marquis, go to the side. You're just a half-step divine transformation stage cultivator, how dare you call Mr. Jiang your brother? At this moment, another Marquis walked out. With a shoulder, he pushed Black Wind Marquis to the side. Then, he took over the seat and said with a smile, Mr. Jiang, I heard that you still don't have a Dao companion. Sigh, you don't know, my wife's stomach is disappointing. She gave birth to 8 daughters, but no sons. However, each of my 8 daughters is talented and beautiful. If you come to my residence, Marquis Tan Lin, this grandson, is actually so fierce. He didn't hesitate to give away all 8 of his daughters to win over this Jiang Xiqing. For a moment, the dukes were all in disbelief. And this scene, for some reason, made the little princess Dongfang Ying and eldest princess Mo Yu a little uncomfortable. Dongfang Ying's mouth opened and closed a few times, but eldest princess Mo Yu's beautiful face darkened, and she directly called out, Marquis Tan Lin, you are speaking without restraint, you have lost the etiquette of the nobles, what do you look like? Why aren't you leaving yet? The empire respects its teachers. Didn't you see that Minister Lin and Lin Yang have been waiting for a long time? At this moment, the crowd gradually dispersed, which also helped Jiang Tian out of his predicament. In fact, these marquises' requests were quite a headache for him. For the Zhenyuan Marquis residents to be acquainted with Mr., it is truly the Lin family's fortune. Lin Yang's cultivation has improved greatly, it's all thanks to Mr. Lin Hanqing bowed deeply, his eyes slightly red. When Lin Yang arrived in front of Jiang Tian, he directly knelt on the ground and deeply bowed. He said with a tearful tone, Thank you, Master, for your guidance. Without your guidance, I and my family would have lost face this time. No wonder he was so agitated. Think about it, who would be willing to bear the infamy of being a good-for-nothing? Who would be willing to be trampled on and humiliated every day? Who would be willing to sit by and watch their ancestors' blood, military exploits, and even their lives be robbed of their titles and fiefs? Who didn't want to soar into the sky, crush their peers, and enjoy the admiration and envy of others? Lin Yang wasn't someone who was willing to abandon himself. He didn't want to be a burden to his family. He also wanted to be his father's glory, and his lover's pride. However, in these years, no matter how hard he worked, how hard he thought, how hard he cultivated, how he went out to train, how he traveled, how he treated pills like candy, and how he ate enough spirit herbs to raise 2 cows, he still couldn't find the opportunity to break through. That moment of advancement still couldn't come. For many years, he tried, worked hard, struggled, and was crazy. He heard his father's helpless sigh behind his back, and saw Fang Guyu clearly anxious but patiently encouraging him. He even secretly cried in the middle of the night when there was no one around. However, later on, he despaired and completely gave up. He indulged in love, cockfighting, and all kinds of fun and trampling on others. Only this short period of happiness could numb himself. Only by numbing himself and maintaining an unconscious state could he be less painful. On the outside, he was arrogant and domineering, but in reality, the sensitive Lin Yang had always cared about these things. However, he pretended not to care at all. Thus, he learned to laugh at himself, learned to make fun of himself, learned to call himself a good-for-nothing, and called himself a good-for-nothing. However, he met Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian didn't despise him and called him brother. He thought of plans for the Lin family and even helped him improve his cultivation, completely changing the trajectory of his fate. At this moment, he felt that Jiang Tian wasn't just his best friend in life, but also his big brother for life. Jiang Tian was his benefactor and benefactor. In short, Jiang Tian was someone that he, Lin Yang, could give up his life for. This is what I should do. You don't have to be so polite. Why call me master? It's too restrictive. In the future, we'll call each other brothers. Jiang Tian laughed softly and helped him up with both hands. A trace of gratification flashed in his deep eyes. In my previous life, you and your family had done me a great favor. However, because of me, you suffered an unexpected calamity. You were chased and trampled by the Tian Luo sect and Yan Nancian like wild dogs. In the end, your family was exterminated. In this life, I've finally helped you improve greatly in your cultivation and rid yourself of that good-for-nothing reputation. You won't be weaker than others in the struggle for power in the empire. However, how can this wash away the guilt in my heart? This isn't enough. It's far from enough. I want to help you go higher and further, enough to dominate this continent. Ha, congratulations, Brother Lin. However, all good things must come to an end. I see that it's getting late. The eldest princess must be tired and should rest. This banquet ends here. At this moment, the purple marquis also coughed and stood up. He smiled and acted as if he was sending off a guest. That's right. Ziyun Shao is heavily injured and still needs to recover. Purple Marquis, quickly go and take a look. Seeing this, the Marquis of Shanshui and the other Marquis who were close to him hurriedly said. Originally, this banquet was a trap set up by the Purple Marquis. On one hand, he wanted to seize the spirit veins and herb gardens of Tiger Head Ridge. On the other hand, he wanted to show off his son's cultivation and further unite the Southern Marquis to become an overlord, paving the way for his next big move. Who would have thought that he would go for wool and come home shorn? Because of this mysterious Mr. Jiang, Lin Hanqing was able to turn the tables around and fight a beautiful comeback. If the banquet didn't end now, when would it end? Were they waiting for Lin Hanqing to show off his strength? Were they waiting for him to stuff a handful of feces into their mouths and humiliate them? They were wrong. Although Lin Hanqing had a straightforward personality, he was the kind of person who was kind-hearted. According to Jiang Tian, he was a bit soft-hearted. In fact, he didn't want to humiliate the Purple Marquis at all. He was only concerned about his son's great improvement in strength and obtaining the title of Southern Border's genius. Lin Yang, let's immediately send your results in today's mock exam to your uncle Fang Jinlong. Even eldest Princess Mou is full of praise for you. Crushing a nascent soul genius, this is a great honor. Let's see if this old man dares to say that my son is not worthy of his daughter again. Damn, I still think that his daughter is not worthy of my son. This guy put his arm around his son's shoulder and walked out, chattering endlessly. The other marquis heirs also bid farewell to eldest Princess Mou and the purple marquis. It was noisy. And in the midst of this clamor, a cold and sorrowful voice suddenly rang out, "Marquises do not joke, nobles keep their promises." Just now, Zi Shan Marquis had said that the battle between Lin Yang and Zi Yun Shao will be waged with 13 cities as the wager. Could it be that you have forgotten? Isn't your memory a little too bad? Chapter 1896. What? This kid is so stubborn that he really wants the 13 cities around Jianghan City. For a time, everyone looked at Jiang Tian in surprise and bewilderment, not daring to believe it. This is offending Purple Marquis to death. Is he not afraid of death? In public, with a bet, Purple Marquis Shenhigu could only hold his nose and endure. However, the other party is a soul formation cultivator, whose strength is second only to the 4 dukes. After the matter is settled, he will definitely have 100 ways to make you suffer. Can you stop him? Purple Marquis's face was also gloomy, and he said with a fake smile, "Fellow Taoist Jiang, Lin Hanqing, do you really want the 13 cities? The 13 cities are all places where crooks and honest people mix. Rogue cultivators are as common as clouds, and experts are hibernating, repeatedly breaking the law. How many cultivators do you have in Maple City? Can you suppress them?" He said meaningfully, "I, Purple Marquis, have a big family, so I naturally don't put a city in my eyes. However, I am worried that although you, Lin Hanqing, are greedy and insatiable, your appetite is not good, your teeth are not good, and you will have indigestion. You will choke to death." This was simply a blatant threat. Lin Hanqing's face was pale, and his forehead was sweating, not knowing how to answer. He kept winking at Jiang Tian, probably to make Jiang Tian take a step back. Jiang Tian ignored him, smiled indifferently, and said calmly, "You don't have to worry about that. Even if I choke to death, it's better than a hungry ghost." You. Purple Marquis didn't expect Jiang Tian to not give him face at all. His face couldn't help but stiffen, his aura surged, and his eyes revealed killing intent. Right at this moment, Grand Princess Mou stood up, smiled sweetly, and said, "All right. Purple Marquis, if you agree to a bet, you must accept defeat. I will make the decision on this matter and give the 13 cities to Zhenyuan Ho. Immediately hand over the fief contract, and I will report it to Royal Brother, and announce it to the world in a few days." Ha, Princess Mou is right. Dukes don't joke, how can I not admit it? Since eldest Princess Mou was in charge, Purple Marquis had no other choice. He coldly snorted and waved his hand. 13 pieces of land deeds in the shape of jade slips flew out from the storage ring. With a flash of light, they shot towards Jiang Tian at lightning speed. He secretly infused the land deed with the divine laws and great path fragments. Once they fell into Jiang Tian's hands, the divine laws would immediately strangle them and suppress them. Purple Marquis was confident that even if Jiang Tian was a soul formation grand cultivator, he would still be severely injured. "Purple Marquis, what are you doing?" Seeing this scene, eldest Princess Mou's beautiful face was covered in frost and gloomy clouds. She frowned and shouted, "Mr. Jiang, be careful." Little Princess Dongfang Ying's beautiful face turned pale as she cried out in alarm. Lin Hanqing and his son's expressions changed drastically as fear filled their eyes. Purple Marquis was an experienced divine transformation realm expert and was ranked in the top 10 of the empire. Although he only used 30% of his strength in this attack, it was still extremely terrifying. Perhaps even 1,000 feet tall mountain would be flattened to the ground. "Thank you." Jiang Tian casually waved his hand and received the 13 jade slips. The dazzling light of the jade slips in his hand gradually dimmed and became dark and ancient. That was the result of the suppression of the divine laws and great path. Seeing this scene, Purple Marquis couldn't help but be shocked. Then, his face turned pale and he didn't say a word. With this move alone, he realized that Jiang Tian's strength was probably not inferior to his. He's so strong. Eldest Princess Mou's eyes also shone with a strange light. It turned out that he really was a divine transformation realm cultivator. Oh my god, a 20-year-old divine transformation realm cultivator hadn't appeared in tens of thousands of years, not to mention in the Empire, even in the entire Saint Origin world. She had only suspected it, but now, it was confirmed beyond a doubt. She felt as if she had witnessed history. Lin Hanqing and his son looked at each other and couldn't help but show ecstasy on their faces. Jiang Tian was so powerful that he could easily erase Purple Marquis's secret law strangle. It could be said that basically no one would dare to provoke the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family in the future. They only felt proud. This banquet, after several twists and turns and climaxes, ended in such an unexpected way. Many of the dukes and successors, looking at Purple Marquis's gloomy face, tactfully took their leave. However, before everyone left, they didn't forget to look at Jiang Tian. They could no longer ignore him. Curing the little princess's chronic illness, training Lin Yang from a core formation trash to a peak Aurus core expert, scolding Purple Marquis and other Empire giants, easily resolving Purple Marquis's casual attack, showing strength comparable to a divine transformation realm cultivator, and even won the favor of eldest Princess Mou. Each of these things alone was enough to show disdain for the Empire and have the capital to dominate a region. Most importantly, all of these miracles, all of these incredible feats, all of them had happened to Jiang Tian alone. Moreover, why did the ancient medicine hall suddenly support Lin Hanqing? Tonight's events were really strange. In any case, many of the dukes realized that the peace of the empire was about to be broken. Because Purple Marquis had lost too much this time, he was bound to be furious. If the empire's top marquis was angry, the consequences would be very serious. After the banquet, on top of a restaurant opposite the Purple Marquis estate, the figure of the fragrant medicine house's landlord Wang suddenly appeared. He sneered as he looked at the backs of Jiang Tian and the others. He snorted and said, "Lin Hanqing, you've invited a disaster this time. Can you really take down the 13 cities? You've offended Purple Marquis, you'll suffer a fate worse than death." Landlord Wang was old, and after all, he was the leader of a large sect. Today, he was scolded and ridiculed by Jiang Tian, a loose cultivator from outside the river, a servant of the Lin family, which made him so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. The business with the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family was lost in vain, and he also became a villain for nothing. In the end, he didn't get any benefits, but instead was scolded and slapped in the face by the third hallmaster of the ancient medicine hall. It was simply embarrassing. However, landlord Wang didn't dare to be unhappy, and he wouldn't vent his anger on Purple Marquis. Although, the main culprit who caused them to lose this business was actually Purple Marquis. Forget it, a business is a small matter. Even if we lose it, it won't hurt the foundation of the fragrant medicine hall. Landlord Wang's mind was very flexible. He thought of Purple Marquis's great influence and some of the rumors that were faintly spreading in the circle. The greater Purple Marquis's power, the greater the threat to the Eastern Imperial family. In fact, Ziyun Shao was also valued by the hidden sects, but for some reason, Purple Marquis kept it a secret. But no matter what, Purple Marquis was not as simple as he seemed on the surface. In time, Purple Marquis would replace the Eastern Imperial family and become the ruler of a country, and even dominate the Saint Origin world. Purple Marquis has great ambitions. I hope that day will come soon. At that time, my fragrant medicine hall will have the merit of supporting the emperor, and he will definitely use the power of the entire country to support me. Even thousands of years later, I can compete with the ancient medicine hall. Thinking of this, landlord Wang's mood suddenly became better. He glanced at Jiang Tian's back again, and left a few divine sense marks. His figure flashed and suddenly disappeared, flying towards the Purple Marquis's mansion. Chapter 1897. At the end of the banquet, those left in the residence were his loyal followers. Purple Marquis could no longer hide his anger. Even when he saw landlord Wang, he could not maintain his composure and was not in the mood to greet him. Purple Marquis only calmed down after killing 3 servants in a row who were unpleasant to the eye to vent his anger. The pungent smell of blood filled the air. The servants and guards kept quiet out of fear. The meeting hall was silent and the atmosphere was so heavy that it was almost suffocating. "Brothers, let's discuss this. What should we do?" In this dead silence, Purple Marquis glanced at the southern border Marquis and said in a deep voice, "I suggest that we ambush Lin Hanqing." Marquis Shanshui was the first to jump out and roared, "Also, kill that Lin Yang and the monster surnamed Jiang." No, we can't kill Jiang Xiqing yet. We have to be cautious and burn his divine soul with demonic fire. We can torture out his secret arts and supreme techniques and use them to our advantage. Do you have a brain? You want to kill Jiang Xiqing? It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. Don't be blinded by hatred. Kill him if you have the guts. Purple Marquis shouted. The sound waves shook the entire hall as if it was about to explode. "Marquis, calm down, calm down." Marquis Shanshui trembled in fear. He staggered back and apologized repeatedly. Purple Marquis, do you think we can't kill him?" a Marquis asked in a deep voice. "We can't kill him." Purple Marquis nodded. His face was gloomy as he said coldly, "This Jiang guy is very strange. His origin is mysterious and his cultivation technique is extremely powerful. It's unfathomable. He easily resolved my great Tao laws. I'm afraid he's no weaker than me. Without the imperial family's order, the marquises are not allowed to attack each other. Therefore, the assassination must be done in one shot and the evidence must be destroyed. We can't be traced back to us. Also, I received news from the spies today that Marquis Yuan's residence in Red Maple Town was attacked by several soul formation grand cultivators. According to the spies' investigation, these soul formation grand cultivators might be from the Hall of Ancient Medicine and have a deep relationship with Jiang Xiqing." Speaking of this, his face became even more gloomy. "What? The Ancient Medicine Hall is involved?" No wonder the third hallmaster of the Ancient Medicine Hall's Icebound City branch suddenly paid a visit today to support Jin Yuanho. So it was because of Jiang Xiqing. This is troublesome. That's the Ancient Medicine Hall we're talking about. When the hardcore dukes present heard this, their expressions became solemn. It was like a dog biting a hedgehog, and they didn't know where to bite. As the saying goes, befriend those far away and attack those close by. If the Purple Marquis wanted to take up the banner of rebellion and replace the Eastern Imperial family, the first one he would have to eat would definitely be the Jinyuan Marquis, who was the most loyal to the Imperial family and whose fief was next to the Purple Marquis fief. Next would be the Count of Nanhe, Fang Jinlong. Currently, the dozens of feudal lords of the southern border all looked to the purple-robed Marquis as their leader. And Lin Hanqing was like a nail in the heart of the Eastern Imperial family, nailed into the core of the Purple Marquis camp, making it impossible for him to unify the southern border. In the end, they were in a state of disunity. As long as Jin Yuanho and Count Nanhe were eliminated, Purple Marquis would be able to unify the southern border. His strength would be able to suppress the 3 dukes and catch up to the Eastern Imperial family. The Eastern Imperial family was already in a precarious situation, and the other 3 dukes also had their own ulterior motives. Purple Marquis could completely convince the 3 dukes to join forces and hunt down the Eastern Imperial family. That way, he would have the absolute advantage. Once the rooster crows, the world will be white, and the Eastern Imperial family will be wiped out. Then what should we do? Marquis Shanshui's face was bitter. Once the Lin family stations troops in the 13 cities, they will be choking us. The other dukes were also at their wits' end. Today's banquet was originally meant to eliminate Lin Hanqing, but in the end, Purple Marquis was left with nothing. Don't kill Jiang Xiqing, but kill Lin Hanqing and his son. Purple Marquis's face was gloomy. As long as Lin Hanqing and his son are dead, Jiang Xiqing will be nothing. She's just an itinerant cultivator without any roots, like duckweed. The current dukedom system has many drawbacks. The stage of the empire will always be dominated by the dukes. There will be no chance for the common people, and even less for the itinerant cultivators. Yes, yes, yes. No matter how powerful the itinerant cultivators are, they will be looked down upon in the empire. It will be difficult for them to achieve anything. Purple Marquis clapped and laughed. Let's get rid of Lin Hanqing and his son first, then who will care about Jiang Xiqing? The dozens of soul formation dukes will tear her to pieces in a minute. But Mr. Jiang is the first guest of the Lin family. He is inseparable from Lin Hanqing and his son. Do we have a chance? A marquis said worriedly, having thought far and wide. I think they will be separated today. Purple Marquis's eyes were incomparably deep. He pondered for a while and suddenly said. Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing left the Purple Marquis mansion. At some point, the first guest, Zhang Linfeng, came to greet them with a few servants, followed by a few flying carriages. Master Zhang, why are you here? Lin Hanqing was quite surprised. Greetings, Marquis, young Marquis, Mr. Jiang. Zhang Linfeng bowed deeply and said in fear and trepidation. Marquis, Madam said that Purple Marquis has ulterior motives for holding this banquet. She was worried about your safety, so after you left, she sent me to support you. I also came here right after you, but I was stopped by Purple Marquis's soldiers and couldn't enter. I was almost worried to death. At this point, he also showed the righteous indignation. He gnashed his teeth and said, a few small guard dogs dare to ignore the first guest of the Lin mansion. They are simply courting death. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. This is all taught by Purple Marquis. We are all dukes, no one is better than the other, but he is so arrogant and despotic. This is simply outrageous. Jiang Tian sneered, watching Zhang Linfeng's wonderful performance. This kid was clearly Purple Marquis's spy, but he made it seem like Purple Marquis killed his father. He is also a good actor. Should I give him an Oscar? Enough, we are in front of someone else's house, so let's not talk too much. The more you talk, the more mistakes you make. Lin Hanqing waved his hand to stop him. Marquis is right. Zhang Linfeng smiled. But, Marquis, is tonight's banquet all right? It was a close call. It was fellow Taoist Jiang Xiqing who turned the tide again. Lin Hanqing happily said. That's good. That's good. Teacher Jiang is simply our Lin clan's lucky star and guardian. He truly deserves the title of first guest. Zhang Linfeng cupped his fists to Jiang Tian, looking like a servant, without any trace of his original arrogance. You flatter me. Jiang Tian indifferently cupped his fists. Marquis, Teacher Jiang, let's get on the carriage. We can't stay here for long. Zhang Linfeng urged as he got on the front cabin of a flood dragon carriage. Teacher, please get on the carriage first. Lin Hanqing was extremely polite and respectful. Jiang Tian did not decline this responsibility, accepting it calmly. As the three of them got on the carriage, Zhang Linfeng sinisterly smiled and raised his whip. The flood dragon horse soared into the air and flew out of the city. In the carriage, Lin Hanqing anxiously said, Teacher Jiang, this marquis knows that you asked for the 13 cities because you want to strengthen the Lin clan, but this is a hot potato that we can't handle. Chapter 1898. Don't give up eating for fear of choking. Jiang Tian's words were concise and comprehensive. That's the theory, but the reality is indeed difficult. Lin Hanqing sighed with melancholy. We have limited troops. Once we send troops to guard the 13 cities, it will stretch the battle line and weaken the defense of Maple City's main camp. And the southern border dukes around Maple City are all Purple Marquis's henchmen. If we want to send troops to suppress them, it will be difficult to satisfy both sides. Are you Purple Marquis's greatest enemy? When faced with Lin Hanqing's anxious gaze, Jiang Tian was completely calm and composed, and he suddenly smiled as he spoke. It's me, and it's not me. His real enemy is the Eastern royal family. Lin Hanqing said. Marquis is not stupid. Jiang Tian smiled leisurely. You took the 13 cities this time, not for yourself, but for the Eastern royal family. If Princess Mou is not a fool, and if Eastern Lu is not a fool, they will take the opportunity to reward you. Troops, cultivators, magic weapons, just for one thing, to suppress Purple Marquis. Is that so? While Lin Hanqing was still doubtful, Zhang Xian suddenly said, What? Suddenly, the communication magical artifact at his waist flashed. Princess Mou summons you in the palace. Marquis Lin, please leave immediately. You must bring guest Jiang Xiqing. Seeing these lines of words, Lin Hanqing was dumbfounded. Then, he slapped his thigh and laughed. Mr. Jiang, you are really good. You can predict things like a god. Not only are you proficient in the path of cultivation, but you are also very clear about the situation of the empire. You can see it clearly. The horse turned its head, and the dragon horse galloped through the air, sweeping across the sky in the deep night, towards the Princess Royal's palace. Princess Mou's palace in Jianghan City was like a city within a city. The walls were towering and thick, densely covered with Dao patterns, and various layers of formations. The halls were like military fortresses. There was not the slightest bit of beauty, but practicality. Armor and soldiers stood in great numbers, heavily guarded, and battle formations laid out horizontally, exuding an iron-blooded murderous aura. There were several soul formation experts overseeing it. At this time, Princess Mou had already used the communication magical artifact to send news of tonight's banquet to her royal brother Eastern Lu. After receiving the news, Eastern Lu was silent for a long time. Royal brother, I feel that Purple Marquis's ambition is no longer concealed. He's about to jump over the wall like a cornered dog. Eldest Princess Mou said boldly. I've been the #1 marquis in the world for a long time, so it's inevitable that I'm tired of it. It's human nature to want to advance further. Eastern Lu's tone sounded flat, but it was laced with a murderous aura that made one's breathing labored. It's a good thing that he's forcing Lin Hanqing, a tough nut to crack. If it were some other slightly softer duke, I'm afraid they would have given in on the spot. When eldest Princess Mou recalled the situation at that time, she was also extremely dissatisfied with Purple Marquis's performance. In front of the representatives of the royal family, he seized the territory of another marquis by force. This might seem like a fight between dukes, but in reality, wasn't it a slap to the imperial family's face? Eastern Lu sighed softly, the affairs of the world are unpredictable. If this were a few days ago, who would have thought that the Lin father and son would be our lucky stars? Thinking of the current situation in the empire, Eastern Lu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Perhaps many factions now think that the Lin father and son are members of my eastern clan, and even that Jiang Xiqing is a chess piece that our emperor had arranged long ago? Eldest Princess Mou also smiled. If I didn't know the inside story, I'm afraid I would also think so. Have you noticed that the changes in the empire's situation seem to be inseparable from a figure at every link? Jiang Xiqing. Eldest Princess Mou's bright eyes moved slightly as she blurted out. Royal sister, you've noticed as well. Eastern Lu smiled playfully and said, I heard that the beloved son of the Duke of the Northern Frontier, Bai Zhanyun, was severely injured by him twice, and his dantian exploded. The Duke of the Eastern Gorge, Long Jushua, was originally infected with a cold poison, but he didn't get a medicinal stone from the ancient medicine hall. He's still begging for medicine everywhere. This top duke originally wanted to use the hidden dragon trials to reform and annex other dukes, but now he's worried about protecting his title and fief. That's not all. Crown Prince Dongfang Ding suddenly began to investigate the second prince. It turns out that he's never taken Dongfang Li seriously. Last time when Jiang Xiqing flew past the imperial capital on the ancient medicine hall's flying ship, the second prince came out of the city to welcome her. That night, the crown prince's eastern palace was brightly lit all night, as if he was plotting something. Royal brother, are you worried that the crown prince and the second prince will cause trouble? Eldest Princess Mo Yu immediately understood the meaning of the song and immediately asked. Our emperor is still here, and they also understand our meaning. The problem of the dukes hasn't been resolved yet. Whoever dares to fight for the throne will die. Eastern Lu said with a faint smile. It's good that they understand. They can't even protect the pie, and they still want to share it, that's a fool. Eldest Princess Mo Yu sighed. After Dong Fangding learned that Er's chronic illness was cured with Jiang Xiqing's help, and that she had ascended to the nascent soul stage, he submitted a secret memorial. Guess what he wrote? Eastern Lu suddenly laughed. His Highness the Crown Prince may have 3 strategies. Eldest Princess Mo Yu said without hesitation, the worst strategy is that Princess Ying's 9 body is exposed, and the matter of her collusion with the imperial doctor to fake her birthday is exposed. He exposed this matter and reported the Western Palace for the crime of deceiving the emperor. After investigating this matter, he asked you to banish the second prince and the imperial concubine to the cold palace. Although the evidence is conclusive and there is a target, it appears narrow-minded and lacking in grandeur. The second strategy is to take advantage of your rejection of the sex and arrange the relationship between the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family and the ancient medicine hall to make you wary of the Zhenyuan Marquis, but in essence, it's to weaken the second prince. Because the Zhenyuan Marquis and the second prince are very close now. This strategy is deeply favored by royal brother, and it's very easy to succeed. The best strategy is to rope in the Zhenyuan Marquis, show his good intentions, and tempt him with benefits. The second prince will be completely alone, and he will have more help and chips to suppress the purple Marquis. He will be able to establish his career in the Duke's struggle for hegemony. But there's also danger, and it will appear too ambitious. Royal sister, you're really sharp. Eastern Lu sighed, but it's not. In his memorial, he asked me to promote Jiang Xiqing to the Crown Prince's tutor, to live in the Crown Prince's residence in the Eastern Palace, to teach him the ways of cultivation, and to help him govern the country. In short, make use of him, and at the same time, strictly monitor and screen him. Amazing! Eldest Princess Mo Yu laughed. The Crown Prince is wise enough to see that Jiang Xiqing is the key. As long as he could win Jiang Xiqing over to his side, both Lin Hanqing and the second prince would have lost an arm. Furthermore, he could prevent Jiang Xiqing from getting too close to the Hall of Ancient Herbs and gradually becoming an uncontrollable force in the empire. His plans are far-sighted and watertight. Sigh, there's one more thing. The Crown Prince likes that girl Fang Goyu. Eastern Lu laughed bitterly. Originally, if the purple marquis had remained dormant for the time being and not made the situation so tense, I could still issue an edict. But now, being the emperor is so boring. Royal brother, these matters are still far away. What's more urgent is the 13 cities. Eldest Princess Mo Yu smiled. Isn't that simple? Zhenyuan Marquis Jiang Xiqing cured my beloved daughter. If I don't reward him greatly, who will be loyal to the empire and work for the imperial family in the future? Give him a generous reward. Troops, magical equipment, powerful cultivators, you have a lot of subordinates. Eastern Lu laughed softly and said leisurely, Jiang Xiqing and Lin Hanqing defeated the purple marquis beautifully. If I don't support them, won't they be bitterly disappointed? Royal brother, you're targeting me again. Eldest Princess Mo Yu was also helpless. Who asked you to be the empire's #1 goddess of war? Eastern Lu laughed. At this time, a palace maid reported that Jiang Xiqing and Lin Hanqing were already waiting outside the palace. They're already here. Eastern Lu laughed. No matter what, at least for now, we must support Lin Hanqing and his son. As for how and how, you decide. With that, he cut off the transmission. Grand Princess Mo Yu sighed helplessly. She turned around and revealed a smile, saying, summon them into the palace. Chapter 1899. Soon, Jiang Tian and Lin Hanqing walked into the main hall. Lin Hanqing and his son bowed respectfully and paid their respects to the eldest princess. The eldest princess also smiled and gave him a seat. Jiang Tian, on the other hand, stood lazily with his hands behind his back. He looked around and didn't show any respect at all. Ahem, Mr. Jiang, are you looking for something? Eldest Princess Mo was a bit depressed. No matter how capable you are, no matter how great your contributions are, you should at least give me some face in front of outsiders, okay? Find a suitable chair. Jiang Tian smiled leisurely. Is this chair uncomfortable? It's a special product of the Nine Abyss Valley, made by the royal craftsmen. Sitting on it in summer, it's cool and refreshing. If you like it, I'll give you a few. The eldest princess emphasized the words Qing family and this princess, reminding Jiang Tian that their statuses were different and that there was a difference in status. The banquet is so complicated. I'm tired. I want to lie down and let someone massage my legs and shoulders. Jiang Tian smiled without changing his expression. You. Don't go too far. The eldest princess was so angry that her face turned pale. Her plump chest trembled violently. She clenched her fists and opened them again, wishing that she could smash Jiang Tian's face. Vassals don't joke. Spitting is a nail. Can the royal family joke? Jiang Tian leaned casually on the eldest princess's fragrant soft couch and hugged a pillow lazily. He said casually, make do with it. Massage my shoulders. How dare this stinky man lie on my special bedding? Humph, I can only throw it away later. The eldest princess was not polite with her poisonous tongue, but she was indeed a person who kept her promises. Even though she was a little stubborn, she still gritted her teeth and massaged Jiang Tian's shoulders. Jin Yuan Ho, because of your contribution in curing the little princess's illness, the royal family will reward the Lin Mansion and Maple City with 10,000 golden core cultivators, 90,000 foundation establishment cultivators, 100 nascent soul heavenly lords, and 5 soul formation cultivators. In addition, a flying boat, 100 cloud towers, nascent soul heavenly beasts. These troops belong to the Lin family. You can deploy them as you wish, but you must focus on guarding the 13 cities. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Your Majesty. Seeing this scene, Lin Hanqing and his son were overjoyed and thankful, but they also felt that it was absurd. The dignified eldest Princess Mou, the empire's goddess of war, and the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies, while giving orders and rewarding on behalf of the emperor, was obediently massaging Mr. Jiang's shoulders like a maidservant. This scene was too strange, too confusing. He could only say that, Mr. Jiang is unruly and unrestrained, truly a godly man. Mr. Jiang, eat the fruit. When the little princess heard that Jiang Tian had arrived, she also ran over with a plate of dragon eye cherries in her hands, just like a maid. When she saw this scene, eldest Princess Mou couldn't help but become enraged, and she directly flicked her sleeve and flipped her over before saying angrily, You little girl, aren't you cheap? Was she addicted to serving him? Isn't it enough for me to massage his shoulders and legs? This is simply a disgrace to the royal family. How preposterous. Aunt. The little princess, Dong Fangying, was also shocked. Her face was deathly pale, and her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. She said bitterly, Aunt, isn't it because he cured my illness that you rewarded the Lin family? What's wrong with me bringing him tea and water? These are all fruits that I secretly brought out from the imperial palace. All right. It's just a joke, but you're so petty. Jiang Tian said with a frown. Eldest Princess Mou didn't know why she was so angry and lost her composure the moment she saw the little princess getting close to Jiang Tian. Seeing Dong Fangying frightened and wronged, she also felt guilty and pitiful in her heart. Eldest Princess Mou's fair oval face revealed a hint of benevolence. She softened her tone and said with a long sigh, You are benevolent and merciful, knowing how to repay kindness. Aunt shouldn't blame you, but this Jiang Xiqing really likes to take advantage of us, repeatedly humiliating our royal family's face. You're already so old, why don't you understand? I don't know why, but when I saw Mr. Jiang, I felt close to him. I forgot my identity, and also forgot his identity. Little Princess Dongfanging lowered her head slightly, pouted her captivating red lips, and said aggrievedly. What's there to be close to? He's a lecher, he doesn't have any good intentions, he just wants to harm other people's little girls, you have to stay away from him. Eldest Princess Mou became irritated again, her eyebrows slightly raised as she spoke sternly. How did he harm me? He cured my illness, and when I saw him, I felt full of joy, as if I had drunk honey. Dongfanging did not understand, but seeing that his aunt was very angry, he did not dare to act rashly. Eldest Princess Mou pinched Jiang Tian's shoulder a few more times before walking to the side. She revealed a smile that was incomparably bright and beautiful, and said, Mr. Jiang, I have bestowed so many rewards to the Lin family, you should at least return the favor. I don't want anything else, just give me a complete set of the improved version of the Eastern Purple Qi technique. Not giving. Jiang Tian flatly refused. What? Not giving? Eldest Princess Mou and the Lin family's father and son were all dumbfounded. Of course not. The material cultivators you bestowed to the Lin family are not for me, why should I give you benefits? Jiang Tian said matter-of-factly. This? You and the Lin family have an employer-employee relationship. If one suffers, the other suffers. If I bestow the Lin family, you will also receive great benefits. Otherwise, I will take back my order. After all, this news has not been announced to the world yet. Eldest Princess Mou laughed. You rewarded the Lin family just to suppress the Purple Marquis. If you have the guts, take it back. We don't want the 13 cities. Jiang Tian was stubborn. This time, Eldest Princess Mou was completely dumbfounded. She did not expect Jiang Tian to see the situation of the empire so clearly, and, so hoodlum. At this moment, she felt exactly the same as Purple Marquis and the others. It was like a dog biting a hedgehog, unable to bite down. I know you don't understand. Ignoring Eldest Princess Mou's angry gaze, Jiang Tian smiled and said, Then let me ask you, what is the use of improving the cultivation method? Naturally, it is to reward the royal family and the vassals to strengthen the empire. Eldest Princess Mou blurted out without hesitation. However, these words were not completely said. More importantly, she could also use it to rope in the direct line of vassals and increase the cohesion of the royal family. Only those who were obedient and loyal to the royal family would be able to obtain the improved cultivation method. The royal family is not an iron bucket, and among the vassals, there are many people with ulterior motives. Jiang Tian was calm and unruffled, his eyes slightly narrowed, and said calmly, You don't know many of these hidden enemies. How can I be at ease to hand it over to you? The improved cultivation method is a knife, how can I hand the knife over to my opponents and enemies? All right. Then I won't waste any more words, see the guest out. Eldest Princess Mou flung her sleeves and directly ordered the guest to leave, walking towards the back hall with a livid face. She naturally understood that Jiang Tian's words were not without reason. However, being rejected by Jiang Tian in public, she felt that she had lost quite a bit of face. Wasn't she doubting her own judgment? I am also the one who knows the situation of the empire the best. This scene made Master Lin Hanqing feel extremely awkward, and he was in a dilemma. Little Princess Dongfanging wanted to say something, but hesitated. For a moment, the entire hall was silent. One could hear a pin drop, and the atmosphere was incomparably oppressive. But I believe in you. Amidst the awkward silence, Li Yundong's voice rang. Jiang Tian suddenly laughed, Sigh, your true essence is fighting, the laws are entangled, the great Tao is in chaos, and it is difficult to control. You have been at the 6th level of the semi-god realm for no less than 30 years, right? Why can't you break through? I originally wanted to use this opportunity to return your favor. Unfortunately. Since you don't appreciate it, then forget it. Eldest Princess Mo's proud phoenix-like delicate body trembled slightly in disappointment, and her lotus steps suddenly came to a stop. Chapter 1900. If Jiang Tian said something else, with Eldest Princess Mo's proud personality, she would definitely not turn back. However, what Jiang Tian said was the most sensitive, most concerned, and most distressed thing in her heart. Yes, she had been stuck at the 6th level of the semi-god realm for a full 30 years. However, in the past 30 years, no matter how hard she worked, went out to train, and traveled north and south, she could not find the opportunity to break through. The moment of advancement had not arrived. In the past 30 years, she had worked hard, struggled, went crazy, and even secretly cried in the middle of the night when there was no one around. However, the path of martial arts seemed to have been shackled, and the late stage of the semi-god realm was always impossible to enter. It almost made her wonder if she had overestimated herself. Could it be that her potential had stopped here? This period of time when she returned to the country from the border was also the time when her heart was the weakest and the most frustrated in her life. Her cold forehead gently relaxed, and her limpid eyes faintly flashed with unconcealable excitement. However, this expression only flashed by for a moment. Immediately, Eldest Princess Mo regained her previous cold and reserved manner, and said with slight ridicule, "Mr. Jiang, no matter how strong you are, I'm afraid you'll stop at the middle stage of the semi-god realm, which is on par with me. You're not a void-return saint. Moreover, the most important thing is that your lifespan is too short, and your experience in cultivation is not as rich as mine. If you want to guide me, I'm afraid you're still lacking. You have a lot of experience in cultivation, and you're old. Can you promote Lin Yang to the peak of the gold core stage in 4 months? Jiang Tian retorted. In fact, Eldest Princess Mo did not completely believe what Jiang Tian said. It was just that when she saw Jiang Tian's smug look, she was extremely unhappy and wanted to push him. Hearing this, she also smiled faintly and said, "I'm afraid you don't even know that your anxiety of not being able to break through is written all over your face. What you probably didn't expect is that if you continue like this, not only will you not be able to break through, you're not far from chi deviation. You can't deny it. Every time the sun sets, your mood will be extremely irritable. It's as if there's a raging fire in your chest that's going to burn you to ashes. You don't have to admit it, but I still have to say it. Just treat it as returning the favor from before. Whether you want to listen or not is up to you." Having said that, Jiang Tian turned to leave. "Wait. You want to leave before you finish talking? Are you a man?" Eldest Princess Mo directly lost her composure and grabbed Jiang Tian's sleeve. "Ha, you called me a brat before. What? Now you're asking me to be a man?" Jiang Tian smiled and said, "I can give you pointers, but I have a condition." "What conditions?" Eldest Princess Mo frowned and said, "Do you want heavenly materials and earthly treasures, famous mountains and great rivers, or cultivation technique manuals? As long as I can give you something, I will give it to you. But it's impossible to get a noble title. Our empire doesn't have such a rule. The condition is that no matter which power in the empire wants to harm the Jinyuanhou residents, you must stand on the side of Jinyuanhou." Jiang Tian's expression turned serious as he said solemnly. The moment these words came out, Lin Hanqing and his son looked at each other. Their eyes were deeply moved, and their faces were slightly red. Mr. Jiang is truly a strange man. As for little Princess Dongfangying, her beautiful eyes were also wide open as she looked at Jiang Tian with extraordinary splendor, filled with admiration and admiration. Jiang Tian had guided Eldest Princess Mo. How much merit was this, and how many benefits could he exchange for? It could be said that he could ascend to the heavens and stand shoulder to shoulder with the dukes. However, Jiang Tian did not ask for anything for himself. As long as Eldest Princess Mo made a promise to the Lin family. "I agree." Eldest Princess Mo did not hesitate. In her opinion, the Zhenyuan Ho Lin family was loyal to the royal family and had the same interests as her. Protecting the Zhenyuan Ho Lin family was protecting herself. A gentleman does not joke. If you are sure, you and I will set up a soul contract. Jiang Tian said. Of course. Eldest Princess Mou smiled. The souls of both sides intertwined and formed a contract. However, if there was a violation, the soul would be destroyed and the body would perish. At this time, Jiang Tian's face turned serious and he chuckled. Your talent and the cultivation technique you cultivate are actually enough for you to break through to the late stage of the semi-god realm. In fact, you have the potential to break through to the void return saint stage. It's a pity that you're too competitive. Your competitive nature has affected your temperament. You pay too much attention to the battle between the royal family and the dukes. Trivial matters linger in your heart, blinding your divine sense. You are unable to calm your heart, so naturally, you are unable to clearly perceive the laws and the great Tao. In fact, the laws are in chaos and the great Tao is entangled. You are already one step away from qi deviation. You don't have to admit it, but my guidance can be considered as returning the favor to you. Whether or not you can hear it in your heart is up to you. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Eldest Princess Mou, who had always been competitive, actually looked at Jiang Tian with her mouth agape. Surprisingly, she did not refute. Soon after, a gloomy expression appeared on her beautiful face. She had to admit that Jiang Tian's words hit the nail on the head. I admit that I have these problems, but even if my temperament can be changed, the empire's situation is precarious. As a member of the royal family and a trusted subordinate of my royal brother, how can I stay out of it? Once the war breaks out, the people will have no way to make a living, and the people will be in a terrible situation. I don't know how many orphans and widows will be left behind. Eldest Princess Mou's brows furrowed tightly. Her eyes were slightly red as she sighed regretfully. At this moment, she removed her strong disguise and revealed her weak side as a woman. Cultivation and the struggle for hegemony are not studying or embroidering. It's easier said than done to be calm and drive away the inner demons. I already know that I am on the verge of death, but there is no other way. Could it be that you have any other way? She looked at Jiang Tian with a melancholic expression and smiled miserably, as if in despair. She also carried too much on her shoulders. At this moment, she let down her guard and confided in Jiang Tian, as if they were old friends. Of course. Jiang Tian took out a guqin and placed it on the table. He smiled and said, I have a song called the 12 Divine Sounds of Langhuan. It is a small song that uses music to interfere with one's mind. With the heart as the guqin, the 7 emotions as the strings, and the true intent to play, it creates a silent immortal sound that resonates with the other party's heart. If you listen to it often, you will be able to cleanse your heart of worldly thoughts, clear your heart and calm your mind. You will not be invaded by external demons, evil thoughts will not be able to enter, and your worries will be purified. With that, Jiang Tian stretched out his fingers and gently plucked the strings of the guqin. Notes jumped out from his fingers like fairies. As Jiang Tian played, eldest Princess Mou's spirit was shaken. She only felt that a beautiful scene appeared in front of her. A gurgling spring flowed past the pure white stones. A round moon hung high in the pine forest. A cool breeze blew, blowing the pine trees up and down. It also blew her heart. In an instant, eldest Princess Mou felt that all her worries had disappeared. Her mouth and tongue were salivating, and her entire body was relaxed. Her spirit was even more refreshed than after eating a spirit pill. The laws and great Tao in front of her were clear and prominent. Her senses were extremely sharp. She was dumbfounded and asked in a trembling voice, "What is this?" Chapter 1901. The first section of the 12 magical sounds of Langhuan, Central Pine Illumination. It helps you cleanse the mortal world and comprehend the beauty of nature and the fun of the world. Jiang Tian said leisurely. Suddenly, Jiang Tian's technique changed. He pressed his hands on the strings and plucked them at the same time. The sound of the zither changed again. It was as if there was a clear and resounding chirp from the ninth heaven. It was so beautiful that it was difficult to describe. Even if hundreds of birds chirped together, it would be difficult to compare to it. Princess Mou only felt that her vision had suddenly risen, overlooking the Eastern Empire, overlooking the entire Saint Origin world, and in the end, even overlooking the entire Central Galaxy. At this moment, she felt her own insignificance and the vastness of the universe. All of a sudden, he deeply felt that all the worries that he had been worrying about in order to advance his cultivation base were so tedious and uninteresting. His heart was filled with sorrow, but he suddenly felt detached. What is this? The second section of the 12 magical sounds of Langhuan, overlooking the ninth heaven. It helps your mind to detach, as if from a strategically advantageous position, and look at the world from a higher dimension. Jiang Tian said leisurely. Suddenly, Jiang Tian's technique changed again. A majestic sound that could not be described with intuitive words penetrated the sky. If Princess Mou had met a real dragon, she would understand that this was the dragon's roar. The dragon's roar reverberated in the princess' mind over and over again, shaking the heart demon and evil thoughts to pieces. Her mind trembled as if she was listening to the sound of the great Tao. However, the great Tao that was originally vague in front of her eyes became more prominent, as if it was within her reach and she could control it with a raise of her hand. In her memory, she had never been so close to it. What is this? Princess Mou's soul trembled, and she was dumbfounded. The third section, Boundless Chant. It helps you to crush the outer demons and destroy the evil thoughts. In this way, you can calm your mind and get close to the great Tao of nature and the great Tao of nature. Jiang Tian replied leisurely. Then, Jiang Tian played a total of 12 sections of the stargazing ocean, tilting the sky, tranquil heart lake, treading on the clouds. Images that were either fresh and refined, grand and magnificent, or transcendent appeared above Mou's heart. In his mind, they interfered with his mind and affected his soul. Listening to the 12 divine sounds of Langhuan, eldest Princess Mou only felt her delicate body tremble slightly. She felt refreshed and her senses became sharper. Her senses were 10 times or even 100 times stronger than before. It was as if she could immediately break through the shackles and reach the 7th layer of the divine transformation realm. Of course, reaching the divinity transformation stage was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Every small breakthrough was like a mortal trying to climb a mountain. It was extremely difficult and dangerous. This was just an illusion formed after the shackles were broken, and the limit of one's potential was stimulated. However, the 12 magical sounds of Langhuan were extremely beneficial to her cultivation. This point was undeniable. Suddenly, Jiang Tian pressed the strings with both hands, and the strings stopped vibrating. The sound of the zither gradually became softer, but it still lingered in the air, as if it could linger for 3 days. Pa! Jiang Tian casually waved his hand, and a jade slip floated into the air, flying towards eldest Princess Mou. Eldest Princess Mou was still immersed in the shock brought by the 12 magical sounds of Langhuan and did not recover for a long time. She caught the jade slip mechanically. Jiang Tian said leisurely, "This imprinted jade slip has already imprinted the sound and image of my playing just now. Listen to it before you cultivate. It will be of great benefit to your cultivation. Within a year, you can reach the 7th layer of the divine transformation realm. Within 100 years, it is not impossible to reach the void return realm. If you have the leisure, you can also learn my finger techniques and play. It will be even more beneficial for you to eliminate your inner demons. Thank you, Mr. Jiang, for the treasure." Eldest Princess Mou's delicate body trembled slightly. She was shocked and moved. She bowed deeply and cupped her fists, performing the etiquette of a disciple. She knew that this time, it was not Jiang Tian returning her favor, but she owed Jiang Tian a huge favor. To be able to create another sage within 100 years, this was a great joy for her and the Eastern Empire. This scene also shocked Lin Hanqing and his son greatly. They could not believe it. To be able to make the dignified goddess of war, the commander of the three armies, eldest Princess Mou bow her head in gratitude and perform the etiquette of a disciple, Jiang Tian was probably the only one in the entire Eastern Empire. Even facing Eastern Lu, eldest Princess Mou would not be so respectful. Dad, I feel that with the relationship between Mr. Jiang and eldest Princess Mou, I will definitely have no problems in the Hidden Dragon trials. Lin Yang was overjoyed and winked. Cough cough, you still can't slack off. You have to cultivate diligently every day. How high is Mr. Jiang's standard? Even eldest Princess Mou can give you pointers. You can follow him to cultivate. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lin Hanqing was also very happy in his heart, but his expression was still very stern. Mr. Jiang is too amazing. He even knows the Tao of music that interferes with the mind. What in this world does he not know? As for Dongfangying, she was so excited that her face was flushed red. Her beautiful eyes were full of extraordinary splendor as she looked at Jiang Tian, like a little fangirl facing her idol. And even said that I was belittling myself by giving Mr. Jiang fruits and losing the dignity of the royal family. But now, aren't you still bowing to Mr. Jiang as a disciple? Mr. Jiang is a strange man. He has both charm and ability. Thinking of this, little Princess Dongfangying's beautiful eyes seemed to be angry and happy. She looked at her aunt with ridicule and snorted lightly. Sensing Dongfangying's gaze, eldest Princess Mou's face also turned red. Alright, take your time to comprehend it. We still have things to do, so we'll be leaving first. Sensing that the atmosphere was a bit strange, Jiang Tian took his leave. Yes. Mr. Jiang, you just came and left, why don't you stay for a few more days? Junior looks forward to you accompanying Lin Yang to the Imperial City to participate in the Hidden Dragon trials. At that time, Junior will be able to take care of you every day. Dongfangying accompanied Jiang Tian out the door, reluctant to part with him. She looked at Jiang Tian in a daze and said in a tender voice. This scene caused Lin Hanqing and his son to be unable to withstand it. This was the eldest princess's palace, how could a man stay for the night? Once Jiang Tian stayed, all sorts of rumors would spread throughout the entire Eastern Empire the next day, causing all sorts of guesses and messages to fly everywhere. The majesty of the royal family, eldest Princess Mou was so angry that she gritted her teeth, her phoenix eyes widened as she reminded him in a low voice. Dongfangying was shocked and immediately shut her mouth. Marquis, something bad has happened. Something big has happened. Someone is trying to assassinate Madam and Ancestor. Stop. This is the eldest princess's palace. Without a summons, how can you barge in? Guards, let me in. Something big has happened in the Zhenyuanhou residence. Retreat. If you dare to take another step forward, kill without mercy. Before everyone could walk out of the main hall, a hoarse cry suddenly sounded out. Following that, there was a burst of shouting and quarreling. There was even the sound of flying swords being unsheathed in the air. Stop! Everyone sped up their footsteps and flew out of the main hall. They saw the head of the Lin residence's consecrated elder, Zhang Linfeng, with a face full of anger. He had already taken out his flying sword and was confronting a few golden armored guards with halberds in their hands. Eldest Princess Mou shouted. Guards, back off. Eldest Princess Mou waved her hand. Yes. Your Highness. A few golden armored guards hurriedly retreated. They were well trained and obeyed orders. Daoist Linfeng, what's going on? This is the princess's palace, an important place of the royal family. How can you barge in? This is a capital offense. Lin Hanqing asked with slight reproach. Zhang Linfeng's face was covered in cold sweat. His expression was anxious as he quickly stepped forward and said quickly, Marquis, I just received news that the Zhenyuanhou residence was attacked. Ancestor was attacked in his seclusion. Miss Dai was attacked in Hundred Flowers Peak. What? Lin Hanqing turned pale with fright, How could this be? What kind of expert attacked? Jiang Tian's expression also changed slightly. But he quickly calmed down. The Zhenyuanhou residence was attacked by 3 soul formation experts. The city lord's residence has been destroyed. Miss Goyu fled to Golden Sand City with Madame and other family members and has now arrived at the Black Stone Forest. 4 immortal state experts attacked in the ancestors' seclusion place. Miss Dai has been kidnapped by 2 of them. Zhang Linfeng's Adam's apple moved as he spoke with difficulty, as if he was anxious and nervous. Chapter 1902. Why did Dai go to a place like 100 Flowers Peak? What should we do? Lin Hanqing panicked. The Lin mansion was where his family lived and was also his base camp. Once it was destroyed, it would be an immeasurable loss. The point was that Fang Goyu and Jiang Tian's daughter were also there. Lin Takong, the ancestor of the Lin family, was Lin Hanqing's last trump card. Once he was killed, the consequences would be unimaginable. As for his daughter, 100 Flowers Peak was a famous mountain with pleasant scenery. There were many strange rocks and a complicated terrain. It was as warm as spring all year round and flowers bloomed in any season. It was the favorite place of young lovers in the empire. However, 100 Flowers Peak was located in the territory of the Duke of Eastern Canyon, in the far east of the empire. It spanned across more than half of the empire and was too far away. Even with the terrifying cultivation of a divine transformation realm cultivator or with a Taoist artifact flying at full speed, it would take a day. Lin Hanqing did not expect that the enemy in the dark would be so ruthless and vicious. It was fine if they did not take action, but once they did, they were as powerful as a thunderbolt. A total of 9 divinity transformation realm experts attacked at the same time at 3 key points. It gave him a feeling of being unable to attend to one thing while losing sight of another. Marquis, let's split up. I'll lead the masters to help the Lin family. You and Jiang Xiqing go to the ancestors' seclusion place. As for Lin Dai, Princess Mo Yu was calm. She hesitated and didn't say anything, but her meaning was self-evident. The enemy was too powerful and there were too many of them. Princess Mo Yu and Lin Hanqing couldn't take care of them at all. At this time, there must be a choice. Of course, the Lin family and the ancestor of the Lin family were much more important than Lin Dai. More importantly, Lin Dai had gone too far away and had been captured by the enemy. The enemy would either kill her directly or not and wait for the ransom. However, this matter could still be put off for a while. Princess Royal, the bandits sent a message by flying sword. If you don't see 1 billion top-grade crystals in a day, you'll have to wait to collect Lin Dai's body. Zhang Linfeng's face was full of panic. He handed over a flying sword with a jade slip with positioning and communication functions attached to it. Faced with the choice between life and death, Lin Hanqing's heart was burning with anxiety. He said, 1 billion crystal stones, in one day, isn't this playing me to death? Zhang Linfeng, wait outside the palace. Jiang Tian, who was watching from the sidelines, suddenly said coldly. Mr. Jiang, the situation is extremely urgent. There is no room for hesitation. We have to make a quick decision. Your daughter also followed Miss Fang Goyu and fled towards Golden Sand City. Zhang Linfeng solemnly reminded. He had no intention of retreating. If I tell you to go out, then go out. What's with all the nonsense? I have something to discuss with the eldest princess and Marquis Lin. Do you have the right to comment? Scram. Jiang Tian didn't give him any face at all. He waved his sleeves and shouted. Yes. 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 Mr. Jiang, please calm your thunderous anger for the time being. The old man was also anxious, he lost his mind and forgot the etiquette of seniority. The old man retreated. Sir Jiang and the Marquis, please make a quick decision. Zhang Linfeng seemed to be frightened by Jiang Tian. He deeply bowed, lowered his head, and retreated step by step, quickly disappearing outside the door. But outside the door, the moment Zhang Linfeng straightened his back, a trace of cruel resentment and killing intent flashed through the corners of his eyes. Ha! Purple Marquis has been planning for decades for today's thunderous strike. I'll let you be rampant. When we eliminate Jin Yuan Ho, we will join forces with many experts to eliminate you. At that time, see how I'll deal with you. Jiang Tian casually waved his hand, and casually set up a barrier that isolated the probing of divine sense. He leisurely said, "Everyone, if you trust me, then listen to my arrangements." How about it? Good, good, good. Everything will be according to Mr. Zhang's arrangements. Right now, Lin Hanqing was worshipping Jiang Tian like a god. In the face of a difficult situation, he had no idea what to do and naturally did not refute. Eldest Princess Mou also nodded without hesitation. Eldest Princess Mou, don't interfere in this matter. As soon as Jiang Tian said this, Eldest Princess Mou's expression changed. She hesitated and said, "I won't interfere. Even if you have the strength of a semi-god realm expert, you can't split yourself now. The three forces are all under threat of life and death. Can you save them? How do you know that the enemy's target does not include you?" Jiang Tian's expression was indifferent, and he said in a deep voice, "This time, the mastermind behind the scenes is very ambitious. Attacking the Lin family is just a ploy to lure the enemy in. Once you leave your palace, you will enter a perilous battlefield that can change at any moment. Perhaps, this time, you will perish." What? Eldest Princess Mou glanced around at the deep and dreary night. She saw that in the sky, dark clouds were slowly gathering, and from time to time, lightning like silver snakes and golden pythons sounded. She was shocked, but there was a sense of panic and fear. She said in a deep voice, "Who is the enemy? Is it Purple Marquis? He has the guts to attack me. Demon race. The previous generation of the royal family." Jiang Tian said in a deep voice, "Purple Marquis is just a chess piece. He is only thinking about seizing the territory of Jin Yuan Ho first. But the force behind him is more ambitious and ruthless than him, and its strength is 10 times or 100 times more terrifying. I suspect that tonight will be a decisive battle." The previous generation of the royal family, Dongfang Jie. A decisive battle? Eldest Princess Lin Hanqing and the others were all stunned and frightened, as if dark clouds were pressing down on the city. Or the beginning of the decisive battle. Jiang Tian said leisurely, "The enemy's real target is not the ancestral patriarch of the Lin family, but Jin Yuan Ho and you. Once Jin Yuan Ho is eliminated, the southern vassals will be completely unified and will have the qualification to fight against the royal army. And once you die, the Dongfang royal family will lose a pillar of the country and will be defeated. So, you can't go out. Once eldest Princess Mou left the palace, she would lose the home advantage." Who knew how many masters and killing arrays the enemy had set up? Lin Hanqing and eldest Princess Mou had both commanded thousands of troops, so they naturally understood this. But how can we get out of this dilemma? Lin Hanqing and eldest Princess Mou asked together. "I'll split into 3. Or I can split into 3. Jiang Tian sneered. The two avatars appeared at the same time. One had an aged appearance like a savage and was filled with wild bestiality. The other had a peerless and otherworldly aura like a god that was ethereal and untainted by the slightest aura. As for Jiang Tian's true self, the aura of the mortal world was much denser, almost like that of a mortal. Is this the legendary technique of the ancient Taoist sect, the 3 pure ones? Eldest Princess Mou was shocked. Generally speaking, nascent soul cultivators could use divine powers and external objects to create an identity. Soul formation cultivators even had billions of avatars and could be reborn from a drop of blood. But no matter what method was used to create an avatar, there was a huge flaw. That was, the avatar was much weaker than the original body and usually only had 20 or 30% of the strength. Otherwise, as long as any cultivator could create an avatar, there was no need to pursue a higher realm. They only needed to create enough avatars. Only the ancient Taoist sect, which was said to be well versed in the great path of time, was capable of occupying the past, the present, and the future with the one chi turning three pure ones technique. A person could create 3 copies of himself, each of which was a copy of himself. They had the same divine power as the original self and had independent consciousness. This was a peerless divine power that was said to be able to kill immortals and gods. How could Mr. Jiang, a cultivator from outside the river, control it?